On YouTube and listen back on Spotify. This is the World of Football podcast.
It's Monday night. You know what time it is. We're back for another Monday night show here at the World of Football podcast. This week it's my turn to host, and I'm very much looking forward to it. The people around me, they don't need much introduction, but we're going to give them the stage to introduce themselves anyway. Below me, I'll start with him because it's his show, and he's donning one of many, many headsets this evening. It's Mr. Weekly Steel Cherry himself. It's Reece. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm very well, thanks. Another good show. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, everyone, if anyone's watching and wants to make jokes about Reece's wrists, the comments are welcome. For the cast that's on that wrist, you know, the usual banter and how Reece is trying to replicate prime Jamie Vardy of 2016.
It's not replicating anyone.
Now, next to me is a guy who has been involved in a very Jekyll Hyde situation the last few weeks with his football club. Nathan, how are you doing? Do you want to talk?
Where do I start, man? Everyone knows what's in the thumbnail, so everyone knows what I'm going to be talking about. And yes, it's another rant. We'll get onto it in a bit. Reece doing his CM Punk impression, just needs to get the cross on both wrists. Everyone knows he's winning the Royal Rumble on Saturday. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh God, let's get on with it.
Another rant for Nathan. Nah, I'm very sad. Trust me, Nathan. I'm very sad for you that you have to rant.
Are you though, or is it pulling in more views? You never know.
Sorry, I just can't help the big grin on my face. I love the juicy. I love it. Right. The circus is back in town. Vincent Tan's at the wheel. He's doing it. He's doing his thing. Cardiff City are back. Nathan, what's going on?
Vincent Tan, he's the man with a plan. Vincent Tan. Absolutely shocking. That's all I'll say first of all. I think this weekend where the shambles started was against Plymouth. Losing 3-1 to a team completely out of form, still don't have a permanent manager yet. Or that I think they don't have a permanent manager. I do need to check back on that. Apologies if I've got that wrong. First of all, Perry NG, who ironically is our top scorer this season. Yes, a right back. A right back. Don't get me wrong, he's insane at free kicks. And
hang on, Rangers have been doing that for years. Rangers have been doing that for years with Tavernier.
They have, but at the end of the day...
They do it best though. Plymouth, as of yet, do not have a permanent coach. Ian Foster is in charge, but it doesn't look like he's permanent. It looks like he's current. No, hold on. That scary bald man with a beard actually could well be. Wikipedia has him listed as just head coach, so he might actually be permanent. Get up here. To be fair though, if this makes it any better for you, it's his first managerial club since 2011. It's his first football club since 2011. He's been managing in the England setup since 2019. After he left Dundalk, he did nothing for 8 years. Between 2011 and 2019, he did nothing. He went from England under 18s to under 20s for 2 years. Then he's done a year with under 19s for 2 years and under 20 at England for a year. Now he's at Plymouth.
Pretty sure it's been longer since the. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it's been longer since you last beat Plymouth away as well.
Yep.
Yes. It's been like, how long has it been?
I'll say it's got to be like 09, 2010. Like the Michael Topper name is in there somewhere.
You're talking 15, 16 years at least. Like I can't remember something before like 2009 at the earliest, which is just ridiculous. Obviously goes up with Perry NG getting that nice goal straight away. Completely fall apart. Ryan Hardy, 2 goals. Shambolic defending yet again. I don't know what it is, but the back line is just completely capitulated within the last, 5-6 games. Obviously, Jamlu Collins is just unable to read a game. Sadly, well, I feel sorry for him because obviously of what happened last season and the way he started. But the guy just can't read a game, can he? And the worst thing is, we cannot drop him because we don't have a left back. I mean, who thinks of this stuff? But anyway, going on to it. Third goal, Morgan Whittaker. Again, what is it? 3 or 4 goals he scored against us this season. It's an absolute joke. Swansea literally threw him in the bin. And yet he's just running straight through us. It's ridiculous. We're meant to be competing at the top of the Championship, not with, no offence to Plymouth, but they've been on a poor run. We should be getting results against them. It's ridiculous. But that's not...
I stand corrected. He actually recently just left as Steven Gerrard's assistant at Al Etitak. So he was actually coaching the likes of Jack Hendry, Moussa Dembele, Damari Gray, and he was coaching fucking Giorgio Wijnaldum, the club captain. And he came to fucking Plymouth 2.5 weeks ago, and he's beat his 3-1 with an ex-Rangers striker, I might add.
Very true.
Yeah, Ryan Hardy used to play for Rangers Youth.
I know.
Good lad, by the way. He's a good lad.
To be fair, he is a good striker, but
he's a good person as well. He's a good person.
Yeah, 100%. But ultimately, after that, you can imagine the toxicity. Bullet only had 15 players to select from at the weekend. For me, that's just completely unacceptable.
He's done.
I know. I mean, that just goes to show the lack of ambition there from the board. But Bullet absolutely slams them, as he absolutely should, saying, I'm considering walking because they're just not back. He's just not getting any back in at all. Everyone knows that free transfers don't happen in January. We haven't spent any money for 2 years, for God's sake. How on earth are we struggling with FFP after 3 transfer embargoes? How is this happening? You've made a £4 million profit in the last 2 to 3 seasons. Where's the £4 million gone?
Remember what I told you? You know where the money is. I told you where the money is. You've got money. You've got money.
Legal fees. We know.
Yeah, he's paying off Julio's fees for his Newcastle subscription.
Oh, not this year.
Don't worry, mate. I'm just saying the club now. I'm leaving you off with the other side. I've no interest in that part anymore. It does my head in. But you have got the money.
We do.
You have got the money. I've said it 3 or 4 episodes altogether. You generally have got money. You're just not getting it. And the minute your fans realise this, the minute you'll get your club back.
100%. And to be honest, like, I'll get on to what happened today in a minute, because I have some strong opinions about it. But with the way that it came across, really worried me with what Bullet was saying. Like, you can't operate on 15 players, especially with injuries. And the fact that Tan said he was going to physically back him a few months back on multiple interviews and in person is absolutely disgraceful, and you don't even allow him to get one sign-in.
I wonder though
it's a joke.
I wonder though if the problem is, and this is not me defending Vincent Tan here, but this is me actually trying to be realistic. Yeah. Because I do think you have got money to spend. My thing is though, and this is just a food for thought question. The players that Bullet might actually want, in particular, are going to come from a league that he was also a winner in. Like, he won the league in Turkey. My opinion here, my question really is, what if the players he actually wants are actually expensive from Turkey? You've got money, but when I look at his targets, I bet you 90% of them are probably going to come from the Turkish league. And I don't think you can afford that. I don't think you can.
For me, we definitely can't. I think the biggest example of it, and it was a long shot getting him anyway, was Bakasetas.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's a class player, but between us and Besiktas, where they've got the wage bill to obviously go out and spend that and a couple of million, who's he going to pick all the way instead of what you can say is a mid-table championship team? Another scenario is Kiefer Moore, with the amount of links that he's getting. For example, Sunderland. I mean,
he ain't coming near you.
And especially with the situation as well. I mean, Tan said he doesn't want to spend stupid money. And with the amount of strikers that we've absolutely wasted in the last few years, I'm not surprised.
I wouldn't blame him for that. I think that's a good quality. even though he's an arsehole, I think that's a good quality in your owner. That he's like, I'm not wasting money on a striker anymore because the ones we've got don't work. I think that's completely spot on.
It is a fair comment.
You have to take a risk.
Especially when you look at the history, when you've had the likes of Zohor and Glatzel and so many other strikers who just haven't worked.
Gary Medine for 6 million, prime example. Vassell for 2 million and plays 2 games.
And Cornelius as well.
Shocking signing.
Like, one thing is,
Cameron Jones.
Surprised. He's not bad. He wasn't really bad though. He was just finished. I'm surprised though that you aren't. Like, I'm surprised you aren't looking around League 2 or League 1 for a striker, or even like up here. There's some good talent up here that you can easily sign. Why are you not trying? There's plenty up here.
It's because the narrative is, and they're trying to sort of cover it up. And I'll get onto that in a minute. But there's no. Oh my god, the phone again. Apologies, guys. The narrative, I know Vincent Tan wanting everyone's season ticket money back, but honestly, I don't understand it because we're not being linked with anyone. He's made it full well that he's giving the impression that he doesn't want to spend. I mean, coming into the game at the weekend, we have 2 centre backs, first team at the club.
Yeah,
that's a disgrace. Yet you end up recalling Ollie Denham from Dundee when he's played 45 minutes all season for him to just go back out on loan.
See, that's stupid. If you're going to recall him because you've got nothing, use him, especially if your squad's bare thin.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, I think he is a very good centre back, and with appearances last season, he is a very good option. Another 2 scenarios: Joel Bagan. Why on earth is he in the Belgian second division?
Yeah,
we have 1 left back. If Collins gets injured, we've got no one there. O'Dowda, who's obviously a winger, he can be used as cover, but he's been out injured for ages and not due back until the end of February.
And
what's
you
the
don't want
point
him
in
playing
that?
it anyway. And you
No,
don't
exactly.
Want him anyway. You want him further forward.
He's much more useful forward.
I wonder if the reason Bagan hasn't come back though is maybe there isn't a recall clause.
There is.
There is? Okay.
There is. Same with Isaac Davis as well, who's doing really well at KV Kortrijk.
See, I'd just go for it then. Bite the bullet and just bring them back in.
Exactly, they should. Because both of them proven in the championship. I just don't understand
At this point, you've got empty shirts.
What I don't get as well though is Cardiff have got good connections with Premier League clubs. Yeah. Why are you not loaning players in from Premier League clubs that are on the fringes? Like that,
I mean, biggest example.
Premier League clubs are happy to loan.
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day,
we're loaning 8 players already from our youth academy. I'd loan a few to you, bother.
Yeah, 100%. And we've seen time and time again that it has been proven to work as well.
Exactly.
Especially in the last few seasons. Prime example, Cody Drama.
There's
season
plenty
before.
There is plenty of fringe players going on loan right now from big clubs. I would try and take a few, even if it's 2 or 3. That's still, they're going to get guaranteed minutes. Premier League clubs should take advantage. I don't know why why you are not doing that at all.
I don't understand it either. It could be I know we sent back Jonathan Panzer, which was just weird that he wasn't even able to be used. But Ike Ogbo obviously gone back to Troyes. He was absolutely shocking towards the end. He signed for Sheffield Wednesday for a couple of mil. I mean, there was no way we were going to be able to afford that, so he's gone to his standard. But the budget's not there, but we're not even using our loan slots correctly. I know we love to panic buy at the end of windows. Everyone knows that well, even on loan at the end of the day, but we can't keep doing that and leaving it to the last minute when we're in this situation where we don't have time now to get these players in. I mean, we're 22 days into the transfer window, not a single movement, yet loads of outgoings. Absolutely ridiculous. And then after all the negative publicity yesterday, the club obviously try and pull the wool over everyone's eyes as they always do. Oh, look, Aaron Ramsey's back training. No, what you're trying to do is put out a tweet to try and cover up all the negativity that's being aimed at the board, is because your manager has threatened to quit and they're threatening protests again. I mean, that's the thing that... This is the thing that we will admit. We are not stupid. We can see what the owners are trying to do again. It happens every single time. Obviously, Darman coming out and saying, "Oh, we're working on a new contract with Bullet." That doesn't mean he's going to stay. That means they're just going to put something on the table. Bullet could go to the end of this transfer window and say, "Right, you haven't given me the players I want. Bye bye."
How many players have you got on loan right now? Like, how many
2.
of you? You know what's ironic? See, until the end of the season, you're allowed 7 loan players. Next year, it's 6. You could have had 7 players on loan.
Yeah.
Theoretically, but you could have that.
It's
Like,
incompetence.
it's 7 in, 7 out. You're allowed. It's 14 slots per club. 7 must come in, 7 go out. You can literally have done that. And there's plenty of clubs letting loan players like go and all that, like giving options. Like, I don't know why these aren't doing it. I don't know theoretically where you're going to look, but there's Premier League clubs willing to let players go, like just for game time. Like, there's options there.
Yeah.
Like, stab in the dark, pay all these wages. Fucking right now, it'd be absolutely mental, but it's possible because they're willing to let him go on loan. Man City pay all his wages, just like Calvin Phillips go to Cardiff till the end of the season. Like, you can pay to leave, like, if that's the case. Like, West Ham have got players up for loan. We've got players up for loan right now. Like, there's a variety out there. You should be able to strike a negotiation to say, we need numbers now. If we've got virtually fuck all in this squad, we need injection quickly. Like, Spurs will have players like they'll have youth players that they'll probably want to go out and get minutes. We've all our loan players, apart from Van de Bench and all that, are youth players. We've loaned out 8 players already. 8. Dan Gore's the latest. Like, we are just loaning after loaning after loaning. I would take advantage.
Absolutely. I mean, I like we say every single season, I just don't know what we're doing. Or, I mean, prime example is if everyone goes off this screen now, the number one thing that everyone says is, what is his plan? What is Vincent Tan's plan for the club? Because at the moment, it just feels like we're firefighting year after year after year. And if Bullet does go, then that means Gutas, Siopis, and the team that he's built are also going to go around him. That leaves us with no quality at all. Because, like, why invest in a man only on free transfers, may I add, and then bin him after a year like you do after every single season? It's just a constant change in philosophy, and it's a walking disaster, which I'm surprised it hasn't happened till now, and it should have happened last season. A walking disaster to League One, and even worse.
This is what we said last week about
We did.
You need that kind of owner who'll gladly just spend, but they'll gradually increase it, but they won't stupidly spend. Like we mentioned, Mike Ashley.
Yeah.
Right now, you just need an owner who will just spend the bare minimum, but they'll spend it where you'll actually see a squad change, and then you'll gradually increase it to the minimum you can spend in the league that seems reasonable. You get into the Premier League, then your spending will just increase to the point where you're going somewhere, and then you'll just take it from there on. I'm not sure if anyone's actually going to come in and sign you. Like, well, not sign you, buy you. I doubt your club's actually on the market to be sold. Like, I know Cam's actually trying.
I know for a fact he's not, because at the end of the day, he's valued it way too high. I mean, he's not going for anything less than 100 million. If he has his way, 200-300.
100 million for Cardiff is reasonable. Considering how, your bare minimum, you're getting no profit on the club. 100 million is actually enough. Especially for any club in the Championship. There's no club in the Championship that I would say I would spend more than 100 million on to buy. None of them. I would spend more money. Obviously, I'd have to spend more money in a Premier League club, but I'm not spending more than 100 million on any Championship club at all.
Especially with the thing you've got to look at compared to Championship to Premier League is what Championship club is actually earning money. I mean, I know we're in 100 and something million pound in debt written into Tan's name, but like,
not really.
I don't know a single football owner either. They're trying to win a profit.
maybe Sunderland, but that's because of the stadium size as well, and they've turned shit around. Coventry potentially have now turned it around, but I doubt it. Middlesbrough maybe as well because of the area. Like they have that advantage. Middlesbrough and Sunderland, like the Newcastle area and all that, like Tyneside, and Wearside, it's all in one slot.
Mm-hmm.
They'll make money just from the crowds. Blackburn, no. Plymouth, no. Rotherham, no.
Absolutely not Rotherham.
Sheffield Wednesday, not
Yes.
so much. Not so much, but should be making more. Leicester City, definitely
Huge
now.
club.
They will be now. Leeds bailing again, which is fantastic. Southampton, yes, because they've got the richest owner in the division. That's it. Ipswich actually. Ipswich as well, yeah. Actually, I forgot.
With their new owners, they're actually doing comparably well, and considering that they're one of the favourites now to go up as well, it's absolutely phenomenal to see what they're doing. But
they've got by the playoff. I still think Southampton will leapfrog them. I still think that though.
It's looking like it
I
now.
have doubts on
It's
them.
looking like it right now.
The one I know that's definitely not going up is Leeds.
Beautifully.
Absolutely not, which is
And we all
fantastic to see.
said this. We all said this at the start of the season. They would definitely not go back up.
I even said it around Christmas they'd struggle. And boy, have they.
We also hate them, so that's why we all agree there.
But I know this next comment from me is probably going to come across quite arrogant.
I thought you were going to say
and especially
delusional.
biased as well.
I thought you were going to say delusional. I believe you.
I mean, it could be delusional as well at the same time, but
Let's see that.
I genuinely think that Cardiff is what, aside from the stuff off the pitch, is one of the most attractive clubs to buy in the Championship.
100%. I would agree with that I agree with that to an extent, in sense of there's a lot of potential there. But I think, like, if we're going back 10 years, for example, obviously you were more attractive then.
Yeah.
Because obviously you were Premier League, you know, you've just been cup finalists a couple of years prior. You look like a really good team in the Championship for years. I just think what's let you down is the mass decline, especially since you went down in 2019. The way you've yo-yoed between mid-table and bottom.
Yeah.
It's almost... I think even when you went down, if Town sold at 100 million, I think people would buy it.
I think so, because ultimately, at the end of the day, what other club will you have this opportunity with all these factors? A capital city club, which is already a massive draw. B, and this doesn't happen in, well, a lot of these big UK cities, one city club as well. You also have one of the biggest catchment areas considered in the area, because at the end of the day, the majority of the Cardiff fans aren't actually from Cardiff. You have a catchment area that technically, because I know they're from across the country anyway, technically about the same size as Leeds. And look at the size of the club that Leeds are and the crowds that they draw. It's just a shame that we've obviously got the boycotts at the moment. Another factor that you can market is, well, you got the Welsh connections, as I mentioned, etc. But good history for this level as well that can expand on it even more. And also the second that obviously you come in and you go on a good run, I reckon 40, 50,000 crowds, especially Premier League if we're doing well. Because we have the means to do it.
There is a lot of potential there.
Like you take the rest of Wales.
By an owner who's draining the club of money and happiness.
Exactly. Like at the end of when we first came into the Championship, we had a massive waiting list. Fast forward so quick from there, the amount of people I know who are saying they are refusing to go to the ground or even touch it, there's a lot that has refused to go on since 2012, and there's a load that I know now, especially from coming down from the Premier League, who are refusing to go until Tan sells. And that number's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
If that happens, though, you're in trouble. Theoretically, you're in trouble if that happens, because
it has happened.
Your players will lose what they really need as well. Home support.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong as well, this is another aspect. I think the home support is absolutely dire. I know the atmosphere can be absolutely brilliant on this day, but it's nowhere near Ninian Park. The amount of empty seats from the boycotts is ridiculous. And before anyone asks, oh, your stadium's too big for you, it's really not. Because when we're doing well, we can easily set it out. And we can easily have the demand for it. I mean, the thing that people have got to remember is back in 2008, we literally took 45,000 to Wembley.
True.
For an FA Cup final. Fast forward to years 2010, sold out our away end again, good 40,000. Could have even finished off the Blackpool end, which they didn't sell all their tickets. Liverpool, Cup final again, sold out, another 40,000 tickets. This was before the rebrand, by the way, so this is when everyone was behind the club.
Yeah.
There is absolutely... This narrative that Cardiff City support, there's not many Cardiff City supporters and we're a small club, is absolutely nonsense. And this is another narrative that I will not back, that Swansea are a bigger club than us. That's nonsense as well. To tie into it. But I want to know your guys' thoughts on it anyway, because...
Well, they have had at least...
That's my opinion.
The only thing that Swansea generally have over Cardiff is they've had a world-class player as a manager win a trophy for them. That's it.
Yeah.
Cardiff have never had that world-class equivalent. But still a bigger club. Not that it matters anyway, because within the next 5 years, both of these will be surpassed by Wrexham. We already know this. Like we're just counting down the days now.
Yeah. Welsh support, though, I don't think that'll be the case. Like, internationally, fan-wise, Wrexham 100% will do it.
Oh, they'll bless it.
Not even close. But the fan base in Wales that backs Cardiff City is amazing. I mean, I know Newport, no disrespect to Newport, but there are like double the amount of Cardiff fans that live in Newport than Newport fans.
Yeah. Fuck Newport, though.
It's going to be so interesting when you guys go to Rodney Parade, honestly.
It's such a shithole.
I don't think we'll turn up.
I've been to Newport. It's a shithole. Like, just leaving fucking Newport was the best train experience ever because I would see ya, fuck off. That was it. Beautiful. I hate it. No, I mean, the away end at Rodney Parade looks like you're literally going to fall through it.
It's kind of like Old Trafford now.
Just without the leaky roof.
Mm.
Or
Jesus Christ.
It's like pitching up at a graveyard the way that's too soon for an Anfield joke. But that is a fucking graveyard.
Mm. Nice. Well, we'll move on now.
We could go on all day. Honestly, let's move on.
Because we could go on all day. We could go on all day, but it's best if we move on and save a bit for next week's segment because undoubtedly this isn't over. Move on to the weekend's action. Obviously, we're in the middle of a Premier League winter break, so there's not a lot to talk about, which is quite refreshing for me and Reece for a change. None of this, we're shit, but a win's a win, but we're still shit every damn week. So, Reece, is there anything you want to talk about first? Predominantly, maybe Ivan Toney having a comeback to the Undertaker theme.
Tin pot.
Yeah, European football, especially over the weekend, was a good joy. Like we'll touch up on Allegri very shortly because that's something as well that needs to be brought up. But Ivan Toney, especially, like, is he a good striker? Absolutely. But is he a good person? Absolutely not. Like, I don't understand this guy. Like, this guy got banned for what? 8 months or whatever it was. He got lengthy ban for gambling.
For something he actually did. No injustice about it.
And how does he treat Brentford when he comes back? I still want to leave. They've been fucking paying this guy for months. Like, is that I don't like.
Yep. I think Reece has just gone into meltdown there, but rip.
My monitor decided to just turn off, but I'm okay. Still here. Yeah, I was saying there, so like I was saying there, but like I don't understand his attitude because I can understand if you're being mistreated by a football club and you've not played for so many months and you're like, well, I want to leave, but you literally have an addiction, a horrible addiction. You're being paid thousands of pounds that you can technically still put towards your addiction. For all we know, he still, in that period of time, could still have been gambling. Someone else could have been gambling for him. He could still be making money. Like, we won't know that because we don't see it in the public eye. But the circumstance of it as well that really is a bit disheartening is the fact that I've got very little time for Brentford, but I've got a lot of time for people who have waited patiently for this guy. Like, their fans have waited patiently for him to come back for a long time because they really need the firepower. Because they've lacked it. Like, Visa's goals have dropped massively. They've vanished. Like, they have nothing there now for goals. They needed this guy extremely, and he comes back, and the first things he says is, "I want to leave. I want to go to a bigger club." Mate, you're not Ollie Watkins. Like, have a little bit of respect. There's a time and a place. If he'd done it in the summer, I would have totally understood where he's like, well, okay, like I've done my bit in the second half of the season, now I'm ready to leave. That would make a lot of sense. You just walk back in for a ban, and the first thing you say is, I want to leave. You don't say thank you. I don't remember him saying thank you in his entire statement. He didn't thank Brentford once. He didn't thank the fans at all. It's just, I'm ready to leave. Absolute disgrace. And if there's any football fan that would take this guy, understandable, good striker. But if I'm wanting an English striker, I'm still taking Ollie Watkins, or I'm still fucking taking Tam Abraham over this guy. Still taking him because his attitude is a fucking disgrace. He ain't worth 75 million either.
No way. I mean, at the end of the day, that just screams prime English tax, doesn't it?
It's insulting that he has that attitude towards a club that have actually gave him a chance when no other Premier League club was actually giving him an opportunity, or a Championship club. He had nothing, and that's his attitude. I don't get it.
I think it's just completely egotistical. I mean, this is what grinds my gears, and I know it's been really well documented on Twitter the last few days. But when David Brooks obviously had his sad cancer diagnosis, was out on the sidelines for a period of time, he came back into Bournemouth and the media attention was like that. Don't get me wrong, he had some really good publicity, which fair play to everyone who gave it to him because he absolutely deserves it for it.
Yep.
But the way that they're treating Ivan Toney coming back, and the last month, which has been pure hype, has been absolutely shocking.
Like he was some hero that was done wrong by injustice. And then as for Brentford, I used an analogy, which is Brentford are acting like that guy who's never had a girlfriend before, then suddenly pulls the hottest girl in the school, and then is letting her openly cheat on him because, like, and he won't say anything about it because he's scared of breaking up with her and losing her.
This
exactly that.
This sounds too familiar to you. I don't want to know.
Well, I mean,
I don't know what to make
honestly,
of that because I've not been involved in a situation like this. How does it sound familiar to me?
Oh, I thought just because you're so used to Kendall, but I don't know.
Oh, there we go. No, great. This song and dance again.
Nah, I'm only having a laugh.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's just ridiculous behaviour. I think I'm disappointed in Ivan Toney as a Northamptonian because he's from Northampton.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit disappointed with him in that. But, you know, like, if you look at his career path, Northampton, Newcastle,
Peterborough.
But but then obviously goes down to Peterborough after many loans, and then Brentford give him a shot, and then he does well at Brentford, gets them promoted. I've been saying since that 2020/21 season where he did really well for Brentford when they got promoted that season. I've been saying since then, like, if I was United, I'd drop 30-40 million quid on him now. And this was the time when we had Cavani just come off the back of a really good season and a really good song, and then Martial had done nothing. I was obviously before we signed Ronaldo, I was like, drop 30-40 million on him now because he's a good striker, and he's done the good since. But obviously what's happened in the last year or so, I think you reap what you sow, in the sense of he got his punishment. He served his time. Obviously, he should be allowed to come back and play football and warrant a big move. But the guy hadn't even kicked a football yet, and he went, so who wants me? You know, for all we know, he could have stunk the place up at the weekend. Like, scored no goals, missed a bunch of sitters, whatever. Maybe gained a few pounds during this time he was away. Obviously, but before he even proved if he was still any good or what, or if he was actually like ready to take the league by storm, he was still twerking for a big club. I just think that you can have your opinions and you can say you can feel like you warrant a big move. Okay, fair enough, but not be so public about it so soon. You've not even properly come back yet.
Yeah,
I agree.
There's a time and a place, and he certainly picked the wrong time.
Yeah. Exactly.
And the question is as well, and I know the distaste for Newcastle on this stream by you guys, but is the exact same reaction going to be the same when Tonali comes back?
That's the online fan base that pisses me off. To be fair though, the whole Tonali situation...
the fan base of the player. Because Tonali, if Tonali's still around...
Well, he'll leave.
I think he'll leave as well. But if he's still around... he won't be doing as much publicity as maybe the fans will.
No, the one difference is Tonali's humble. He'll admit that he's got a problem. He's already done that. He's got a problem. He's not going to go and immediately say, well, I want to go back to AC Milan. He probably will, but he's not going to openly say it like that. Like, he'll say, I want to go back because it's the club I support. Like, there's a different way of handling it. And
I mean, at the end of the day, he'll obviously be leaked in the papers, but he'll just keep it on the quiet until it obviously happens. Give respect to the Newcastle fans, etc. But I can just see it with Ivan Toney. Comes back with this hero. I can see it now. Comes back with this hero worship. Runs down his contract. Brentford just completely refused to sell him. Let his contract run down.
I don't think
and then he ends up going on a free.
I don't think Brentford can afford to lose him on a free though.
I don't think they can either, but I think
they have to sell. They have to sell him.
I think that this is the one occasion because obviously we've had it where they very reluctantly, may I add, get rid of both Ollie Watkins and then Neil Maupay when they uncovered both of those gems. But I just think with Ivan Toney, because he was the one that got them over the line into the Premier League, he's like their primed asset, and I think they're just going to be a little bit too arrogant, unfortunately, and will hold on to him for a little bit too long. Yeah,
he's like their he views them like they're Harry Kane. Like,
yeah,
he's like their do or
he's
die.
Their franchise player.
He is, but at the end of the day, with Harry Kane,
at
the end of the day, though, with Harry Kane, Daniel Levy was smart enough in the end to realise that Kane wasn't going to be there past his contract, and he wanted out. And the only way that he's going to cash in on him and actually look at getting a competent striker is by selling him ASAP.
Yeah.
And in the end, he had no choice but to bite the bullet. Will Brentford do the same and concede that they need to do the same? I don't think so.
I feel like
they might.
I think they have no other option. I think 60 to 80 million is what they're looking for, and they can get it, but it depends on the football club. I think the only club that are stupid enough to do it is Arsenal. I don't think Man United are going to do it. I think Man United would rather spend 60 million on Eze. I think when it comes to Premier League talent or English, we would rather spend the money on Eze or jump the gun and sign Elise. I don't think we're going to be, or we spend the money and we sign Son. I don't think we're going to go after Tony like that, especially if we're trying to go around a new approach where we want hungry, hard-working players who are committed to the cause, not immediately
Tony
first
doesn't
option, not the first option of they just want to run. I think that's something I can see, and I think I think you could see where we make a marquee signing, and I think Son could well be that first marquee.
And speaking about that as well, I think in particular, going back to the Tony situation very quick as well, you've got your sort of talisman who you need to build up over time in Hoyland.
Yeah, that's why I would still bring in Son.
Yeah, for me, you need wingers.
Yeah, Son and Sané. Cheers, Dwight York. We're on the same wavelength.
Get Sané in. And then Elise, the thing is, Elise will also fit the system really well. Eze, I have my reservations about, but Elise is a massive talent.
I think they're both fantastic. Depends on how they use them, but I think you could theoretically sign both. It's hard to get them out of Palace, but theoretically, if we sign both, that's two good players that are young, that are available. Another option, obviously, is still in Portugal. You've still got Pedro Gonçalves, and you've still got Marcus Edwards. I wouldn't mind both of them. Sorry, Maisie. But I wouldn't mind taking both of them because that's a right winger and a left winger. They can also play in number 10 central midfield roles and number 9, depending on how you use both of them. And they're relatively good ages, 24 and 22, I think. 24, 25 and 22. That's longevity, and it still fits the whole idea of, okay, every 2 years, if they don't cut it, then we can sell them on. And it'll work. Although I think those two would work out because they're coming from a league that's generally suitable to adapt to the Premier League. I think there's so many options, but I'll tell you one thing as well. The only reason why I think Arsenal are stupid enough to do it is because I think Chelsea are not going to want to make that mistake of signing a big striker and it goes to shit again. I think Chelsea are done making that mistake.
Plus, not only that as well, and I know I'm going to get onto it later, I have some opinions about some of those Chelsea strikers in our tier list. Oh my, that's going to be interesting.
There's a couple in there.
I thought there would be.
There's only one genuine January striker standout though. There's only one. And it's
the interesting thing about a particular Chelsea striker, I have a strong opinion that goes massively against most people's narratives. But we'll get onto it. We'll get onto it.
All I'm saying is I'm not spending 50 million on a striker in January.
That's fair enough. Right. Allegri. Let's discuss.
Genuinely, what a fucking amazing manager. But it's 2 weeks in a row. It's 2 weeks in a row this guy has made it onto the show in the right way. We're just going to have the Allegri section. Actually, I want to give us a weird, scarily shout as well to Stefano Pioli. He's the fastest man to 100 Serie A wins for AC Milan as well. 100 wins in 166 matches. Faster than Fabio Capello, who was the quickest to do it.
That's interesting.
Yep. But we'll get to that very shortly as well for different reasons. But Allegri is now 2 off Nerio Rocco, a legend from Milan, legend Serie A. 2 wins off. He's 2 wins off him for being the second most successful manager in Serie A for wins. He's on 300, and Trapattoni is 352. And yet this guy gets no respect. This is a serious winner here. When eventually is he going to get his flowers? That's what I want to know.
Why does he get disrespected so much? I don't understand the disrespect because he carried on the winning streak of titles for Juve for years, left, was on the cusp of going to Real Madrid at one point.
It was, yeah.
Didn't. Came back to Juventus in arguably the most difficult period for their whole
situation at the club.
Rebuild, did you want to call it a rebuild?
I mean, at the end of the day, look at the off-the-pitch problems as well, that even though there's no Europe this year, look at the way he stabled it.
2 points off Inter Milan as well.
That's incredible.
One game a week does that. I'm not criticizing him for that, but I'm just saying that obviously it's made them more stable, and I feel like a season like this would help them a lot.
It's allowed him to bring in 8 young players into his first team, and they're all gelling towards a title. Like, that's scary. 8 young players, and he's taken them to that point where they're competitive enough to challenge for a title. This could be that Juventus core team that could be for the next decade and a half. Like, the frightening of that. Like, Gatti, Moretti, Vlahovic is still cooking as well. Chiesa's regained his form. Moise Kean is still firing all cylinders. Locatelli is comfortable again. Alexandro
Pogba's still not on the pitch.
Yep, Alexandro's comfortable at left centre back now. Danilo's comfortable at right centre back. Two fullbacks as centre backs are working really well alongside Bremer or Gatti, depending who he plays. Chesney is definitely going on the way out, but he's still been reliable for them.
And he has the experience as well in goal. Sort of,
exactly.
Obviously, when Buffon left, took over well.
Absolutely, and they've got such a strong. I'm not a Juventus fan, but there's parts of Juventus history that I do admire, and I won't deny it. I admire this current Juventus side for what they're aiming towards. Like, I can't help but respect it. Like, I just can't. Like, it's really impressive. But see if I can find the. Where is it? Not that one, because that was Roma. Shout out to Daniele De Rossi for his first win as Roma manager. Where is it? Have they played yet? Where is it? When was the last time? I forgot about that Super Cup semi-final. Napoli won 3-0. I forgot about that. Where is it? What am I looking for? Where the fuck is that? Is Juventus' last game? 2 seconds, gents. Fucking shitty app. That's why. Nope. I think they're playing Saturday, and that'll let me go back through the last fixture. There we go. Come on, you piece of shit. Serie A. Nope, they'll be playing Sunday then. For fuck's sake. Yeah, there we go, because they're playing Inter Milan on Sunday. Which makes me very fucking happy. They go to San Siro on Sunday.
Interesting.
Well, the sorry, not this Saturday. The following Sunday, late kickoff, quarter to 8 kickoff. Right, so they played last night. 3-5-2. Chesney in goal. Federico Gatti, Bremer, Danilo, Cambiaso, McKennie, Locatelli, Moretti, Kostic, Vlahovic, and Yildiz. Young players there. Cambiaso is 21. Gatti is 20. Moretti is 20. McKennie is 23. Vlahovic is 23. Yildiz is like 19. What the fuck is that in the background? What is that booming voice? What is that? I don't know what.
I'll be weak because my mic's muted.
No idea. Ilian Jr., English player, by the way. He's 18 years old. Timothy Weah. Joseph Nong. Cavalija. You've got Milic's experience. You've got Pinsolio and Perrin, who are the goalkeepers, like on the bench. Experience. I assume Mattia Perrin is probably going to be the replacement. I think he's still a good goalkeeper. He just doesn't get the chance. And then Daniele Rugani is 28 years old. The average age of this squad is like, what, 26, 27? I'm literally going to look up right now. And if that is their average age, generally, people are in trouble. This Juventus team, if it matures. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. At the moment, until Inter Milan play, Juventus are top of the league. By a point. They've got an identical record to Inter Milan. The only difference is they've drew a game more. Mm-hmm. They've played a game more, but they've drew a game more. The good thing is, though, is Milan's only 6 points behind Inter and they're 7 points behind Juventus. They'll catch them. Douglas Costa's went to Fluminense.
Wow.
He's
Oh yeah, I
left.
did see that with Fabrizio Romano earlier.
And no way, Juventus have signed Thiago Diallo from Lille.
That's a good signing.
They've literally stole AC Milan's main summer target. You bastards. Yeah, their average age is 26 and a half. That was Milan's prime summer target as well. They were going to go after Diallo and reunite him with Tomori in centre-back. I was like, you robbing bastards. There's Danilo's replacement right there, or Alexandro.
This is the thing with Juventus, like with all of their young players coming through, they're making some just incredible business, and it's not like doing a Galactico style thing where there's just big name after big name after big name. It's smart signings that are massively going to inflate their value, and if they have to sell them on for, you're talking 60, 70, 80 million, they'll sell well. And it's
especially the defensive ones. The defensive ones are going into a league that will see that they will upgrade. Do you know what I mean? They will upgrade
massively. And at the end of the day, Juventus are always known for a strong defense. And look at some of the talent that's come out in defence in recent years.
It's a very likeable side. It's becoming a likeable side.
Yeah, I'll admit they are. But they've got even like midfielders. Like they're renowned for great midfielders. They're renowned for great goalkeepers. Like you can literally think of any Juventus team in history. You can pinpoint a great goalkeeper, a great defender, a great fullback, a great midfielder, and a great number 10, a great striker. Like Zoff, Buffon, fucking now Chesney. Then you had for defence, Lilian Thuram, like just to name one, like crazy. Like you've also obviously like Chiellini, Bonucci, Barzagli. Then you've got in midfield, fucking Fabio Capello in the 80s, Ancelotti as well. You've got
Zidane.
Yes, Zidane as well. Laudrup, Platini, like
Pirlo, Vidal, Marquisio,
Vidal, yeah, exactly, all of that.
Even
David.
Pogba.
Yeah, Pogba as well, like, and then I mentioned number 10 is obviously Platini there as well, like Dybala, depending on what you use them, Del Piero, like great fucking strikers like Vialli, God rest his soul. Like Del Piero we've mentioned, fucking Roberto Baggio, like David Trezeguet, like
I was about to say Trezeguet.
Like Pavel Nedved as well. Beautiful, beautiful player. Like when you look at him, Zlatan Ibrahimovic as well, Carlos Tevez. When you look at the history
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Of recent times, yeah.
When you look at Juventus back to front, they have had such a plethora that's only rivaled by specific clubs. AC Milan, Inter Milan, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea. Fuck PSG, but PSG as well. Like
a lot of those names you mentioned, in their own right, are franchise players.
Exactly.
They're not just big names like in footballing sense, but even commercially, they're huge names.
And even then, with Juventus, which we find in particular with the Italian players coming through, even if they're not big names, they will produce them to be big names.
And they never get it wrong. When it comes to Italian players, whether they sign them or they develop them, I can't remember the last Italian player Juventus had that was actually terrible. And that says something. I actually can't remember. That was terrible. I can think of bad Italian players because they just didn't fit Juventus. That's because Juventus is so ruthless.
But then again, did they turn into terrible players just because they didn't fit the system?
Possibly. Like the last... This is going to sound crazy, but the last player to genuinely be terrible for Juventus, in my opinion, was Thierry Henry. He was the last player to be genuinely terrible for Juventus, but that's because they used him wrongly, and Carlo Ancelotti admitted that. he got it wrong. He used them in the wrong way, and he admitted that. But he was genuinely terrible for Juventus. And that's 1998. Like, that says a lot. Oh, I forgot another one as well. Just for good old-fashioned ones, the likes of Lichtsteiner, Quagliarella, like so many just old-school classic options. You're on mute.
Old school Juve from the early 2010s.
It's still old school in a different way. Like, it's old school going back to roots. And I think that's what's important. I think some clubs are really missing that. Like, for example, like when Berlusconi bought AC Milan, he wanted it to be just Italian nationals. He didn't want foreign players in that team. But he later realised you need foreign players in there to take it to the next level. But a core environment of your nation is missing. Milan are missing that, but they're looking to add more in. And Milan have got a good core of Italian players.
United are missing it. In England,
Yeah.
United are missing it.
You should have a core base of where you come from. Like, you should have a core base of that nation. There's hardly any top Scottish players at Rangers or Celtic either. They're the same. They went all foreign, pretty much, which is so wrong. Like, PSG are learning that lesson, that you should have better French players. Like,
another example, and I know I'm going to bring it close to home, but look at the way that Swansea abandoned their principles. Like,
exactly.
look at that early Premier League run, full of Welsh players, and boy, it wasn't even like superstar players. It was players that you just needed good strength. So, for example, Ashley Williams.
Ashley Williams,
yeah,
especially.
Ashley Williams, prime example, as much as I can't stand the man. Ben Davis, Neil Taylor. The list goes on and on and on.
And then you couple him with just a few European imports like Michu. It works. Yeah. Michel Vorman goal. Fucking
De Guzman.
De Guzman, yeah, exactly. Like, I've got no issue with a club having 5-6 years ago, the best English squad for English players alone that would win your league title was Tottenham, except Tottenham don't win it. But now it's Man City. Like, it used to be Man United. Like, they need to get the best of that talent in your squad. I've got no issue with that.
After 2010, Man United are not in that question at all, with the way they just completely abandoned the principles. And a lot of that, for me, comes down to the Glazers with the lack of investment into infrastructure and pushing it in from the youth system.
Exactly. Need to get that back. Need to. Credit to Juventus for having so many young Italian players in their squad, for giving them a chance to develop into a team that is fighting a very strong Inter Milan side for the title. Like, I still think both teams can be caught by Milan, but that's only if Milan's second half of the season is impeccable. And to be fair though, if I was AC Milan looking at the fact that Inter Milan play Juventus next in 2 weeks, I would take every option I can to just make maximum impact and just go for it. Like, game after game, just play full strength, just go for it. By all means, like, there's nothing to lose. A league title can still be won. Whoever wins the league there between Inter Milan and AC Milan will be the one to finally hit 20. Both of them are still tied on 19. You're still way behind Juventus on 37 titles, but the bragging rights between the Milan clubs is going to come down to this year. If Inter Milan win this, they are the second most successful team in terms of league championships in Italy. I don't want to see that. European-wise, we're still leaps and bounds ahead of both of them, but the league is so important. They've got to get this. And the pending rumours of Arab sale as well is another thing as well, which I'm a little bit sceptical on, but that says a lot about the American owners. But anyway, back to Allegri.
Yeah.
This guy needs to get his flowers. I don't get it. And I still said it last week, I would still have this guy at Man United. Regardless of the structure, I would still have this guy. I hate the fact he gets so much disrespect. It's probably because he doesn't have the hair anymore. It's just because he's got the shaved head with the blood and all that. But This guy is literally so fucking brilliant when it comes to tactical football. And it's not boring. And it's not less goals. We were shown the stats last week. Like, this guy's record is insane. Just give the guy his flowers. You don't have to like the guy. But just give him the respect he deserves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially when he done on multiple occasions what Conte couldn't do once. He won multiple trophies in a single season at Juventus. Conte didn't do that once in 3 years. But that says a lot. It's hard to win multiple trophies with Juventus. It might look easy because they've got the most titles from a league perspective. But you've got to go out and physically win them. Conte couldn't do that. Allegri done it with ease.
It's harder to win on all fronts in Serie A.
And he done it for 4 years on the trot.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure, like, for his first 4 seasons, Allegri won the double in 4 straight seasons, which is unheard of. Bar the odd defeat in the Supercoppa, but like in terms of like winning the Coppa Italia and winning the league, he done that like 4 or 5 times, and he's won the league with them 6 or 7 times, plus the league championship he won at AC Milan. The guy is a machine. I don't get how he doesn't get his. I don't know how he doesn't get his flowers. I really don't.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and I completely agree with you. I think some respect needs to be put on his name, you know, from where he was before and how he's come back in and how he's taken the team through this transition. Now he's got them challenging. Meanwhile, in Milan, we have a team who have a manager who seems that it may have run its course, but you know, there's two reasons why I want to bring it to that game. One being the result in general and what's going on in Milan, but also the horrible scenario we saw there and in England over the weekend. Reece, do you want to start on that?
Yeah, just touching on it, I thought despite one barren moment of disgrace, I thought the game was excellent. I thought Udinese have been a problem for Milan in recent years. If they'd won that game, it would have been just the second time in 5 years where they'd actually done the league double, home and away, over Milan. They've been a genuine bogey side for Milan in recent years. I've always liked watching Udinese play. They're a solid side. They've always had some good players, Di Natale being one of them, where they have like those types of players who come in and just do a job, but they have a consistent history in that respect. Milan certainly, for the most part, were struggling to deal with them. Like I mentioned, Florian Thauvin on last week's show. I think he's a quality player. He scored a beautiful goal to make it 2-1. And after that, it was literally Milan are clutching the straws. But Milan were dominant as well. Like Milan were so leaps and bounds ahead of Udinese, and they just didn't know what to do with them. They couldn't finish for Toffee, but the goal definitely woke them up. And I thought overall it was brilliant. That pass from Rafael Leao was fucking exquisite for the equalising goal. Giroud should have scored, even though it wasn't him that scored though. But Luka Jovic, he's clearly finding his feet again. I'm happy for Luka Jovic. It was a good game, but we have to talk about the incident of suspected racism. It's suspected because obviously we don't know what was said. It looked like Mike Mainan claims that he saw monkey chants as well, like monkey signals as well. They were doing the whole thing. I didn't see it on camera, so I'm not gonna defend the Udinese fans. I'm not gonna condone racism either. But you've got to take this seriously. I like the fact that before he walked off, he went straight up to the referee and he told him, "I'm walking." Like that's it. It did lead to the equaliser, obviously, because the game halted for 5 minutes, and it did take Mainan off his game. Because I think Mainan would have saved that effort from Samir Hatsic. It was quite an easy goal to concede. I think that shows a lot. If you're rattled by a situation like that, your head's gone.
Yeah.
And his head certainly was gone by that.
Which is completely understandable.
Yeah. And it's a poor reflection of the game. I didn't see the incident in the English game though, but I know of it. I found that was absolutely disgusting.
I was shocking that.
I agree with Gianni Infantino's statement that if there's racism, then the clubs, if there's racism by that club's fans, then they should forfeit a match. It should be forfeit. It should be an automatic win to the rival. Well, not the rival, the opponent. I understand that, but I also think that's very harsh on a football team that if your fans are the reason for forfeiting. When frankly, that's going to be every single game in practically every country because there's racism everywhere. And if you have to forfeit, you're punishing the players. You're effectively you're condemning so many teams to a loss of championships, relegation. Like you're putting clubs in situations where it shouldn't be that. For me personally, you should just heavy fine them. Heavy fine the clubs, because if you heavy fine the clubs, the fans will feel that and they'll go, actually, hold on, we've got to change. If you're forfeiting, that isn't the answer. I understand it and I think it's right. That's why I say I agree with the statement. But I think it's dangerous to come out and say, oh, your fans were racist towards a black player or an African American or a player from Asia. So by all rights, you have to forfeit a game. I'm sorry, but if my fans are being racist, I'm not forfeiting the game. I'm banning them for life, and I'm fining them I'm fining them massively. I'm not taking a fucking forfeit. No chance am I taking a forfeit if it can affect my season.
I mean, I completely agree with that. I think the way that it needs to be addressed is, first of all, if it's by an individual, then they just get banned for life, fines, and obviously in this country, possible arrest because it's just disgusting and absolutely not welcome in the game. But I think on the other hand of it as well, because we have seen it in areas, if it is a large contingent doing it, then that's when you look for stadium closures and fines.
Yeah,
I think that's where it goes from. If the problem that I've seen is if it affects anything on the pitch, so you're talking point deductions, etc., it's just going to inflate it even more. Especially another thing that I will say is if you give it too much publicity,
you're making it worse.
You're going to make it worse. Keep it minimal, release a statement, done.
I'm going to put
Don't give them the time of day.
I'm going to use another person as an example here who I think is going to make it worse because he is against it, but also I think because of his name and the money he brings in, it's going to get even worse. Kylian Mbappe. Now, obviously, Mbappe did come out and defend Mike Mine, and I completely agree with that. But he said racism needs to be stopped in any circumstance. But also another thing as well is that sort of statement as well. I agree with, but it's also going to get him bothered because it's immediately going to come. They're immediately going to come after him in the worst way.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's the attention you should be trying to draw to yourself. You want to get the whole situation dealt with. You don't want to make it worse. And I think his statement, albeit it comes from the right place, it's going to make it a lot worse by the way he's come out in a way. And it's not right. I think he is right that racism needs to end. But his statement is where he's going to get every single one of them.
Fuel onto the fire.
Yeah. And that's not what we want.
100%.
Because I'm sick of the racism. Like, I'm sick of it up here as well. Like, I'm sick of the whole sectarian bollocks up here. Like, that's gone on long enough.
That stuff is shocking in 24, honestly.
But you know what's funny as well is that doesn't get on UEFA and FIFA's radar. But that's racism. So why is that never once questioned?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's like that says all for me. Like, I hate Celtic. I'm not a religious person. That's not why I don't like Celtic. I can't stand religion anyway because for me it's all false. But in each to their own. You can believe it if you want. I definitely don't. But I'll not go after a football fan or a football club because of religion. I'll go after them because I think they're absolutely fucking horrible. But I'm sick of the sectarian nonsense. So why doesn't UEFA get involved with that as well?
It's just probably because of perspective. At the end of the day, with it,
Could be.
that's the reason.
It is a
Nothing more.
fucking joke though. It is a fucking joke though. It's gone
I
on
think
long
it's
enough.
I think it's crazy how whenever we've seen it in Italy in the past decade, us here in England will say, or even in Spain, like we see the amount Vinny Jr. gets out there in Spain, and we say, oh, it happens in these countries a lot more. But we can't even say these countries anymore because it literally happened here. It's happened here on the British Isles. Like Nathan, you saw what happened
In
over
the championship,
weekend.
yeah. Casey Palmer.
And then I think, what was it, Barry Bannon
Yeah.
was trying to say, like, let's get the game, let's keep it going. Like, no. What good does that do? Just keep it going.
I think I can see why Barry Bannon's done it. I think I can see why he's actually wanting
Yeah,
to
I
continue.
think Bannon done it is in keep it a low profile, they'll get dealt with after the match.
Exactly.
It's on
And I
camera,
think that-
sorted, don't give them the time of day.
And that's the best way to go about it. Walking off is understandable, walking off in that way. But if you just keep it going, it's going to get to you. But after the games where you really show your strength, you really show your strength and your influence after the game, where you're like, I'm fully focused on my job. The minute this job is over, we're coming for you.
Mm.
And that's what I'm all about.
It affects people differently, though, if you think about it.
It
Because,
does. It does.
Some players will use it to perform in some way and then deal with it properly after, whilst others will just completely crumble. I think at the top level here in England, I think the worst we saw it maybe was, in terms of incident numbers, I want to say 11-12, where we saw the whole Suarez and Ever incident, and then I think within a couple of weeks, it happened at Loftus Road between John Terry and Anton Ferdinand. Mere weeks between the two incidents. And I'm just trying to think, here in England, have we seen it, at least at the highest level, have we seen it as frequent and as bad as that? We've seen standalone incidents through time. I'm just trying to think, have we seen, can you guys think of any?
I can't think of anything in the last 10 years
Yeah.
at all.
I think it's
That's
crazy
all.
how players will wear like...
Chelsea frequently, but like going
especially with the
towards
fans.
Yeah.
The incidents we've
Yeah.
seen with their fans as well. I think it's ridiculous.
I don't like when they can the worst part is when they condone it. Like, I'm not going to talk about Chelsea, but you mentioned about like the Suarez and everything. I've got all the respect in the world for Kenny Dalglish for what he achieved as a footballer. Like, because he did achieve so much for two clubs I fucking despise. But obviously he done it for my country as well. Like, still the joint top record goal scorer for my country. So I'm going to give him his flowers for that. But in terms of like behaviour,
The defending Suarez t-shirts.
it's not even just the defending Suarez t-shirt. It was the fucking pre-match interview when he had a go at the Sky Sports guy that was interviewing him about Suarez, and he's like, you know what? I'm actually going to get exactly what he said.
What game was this?
It was Maillet versus Liverpool.
Was it the return game when Suarez came back?
No, the game. It was literally the. I think it was the game at Old. I don't know if it was the game at Old Trafford, but the game.
So the incident happened at Anfield in October, and then in January, February time, it happened at Old Trafford.
Yeah, because
the return fixture happened at Old Trafford. I mean, and I think there's a clip where he actually has a go at Jeff Shreves. I think.
He has to go Jeff
after the
Shreves,
match.
that's it.
I think it was.
Yep, I'm going to get the exact thing up, the word for word. 2012. That's when it was. Post-match reaction. Yeah, uncut interview. Yeah, refuses handshake. Yeah, here we go. Here's the full. I've got a transcript right here. Let me just get that.
Was he asking like, how can you blame Luis Suarez for anything that happened here today, along those lines?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I remember a brief clip of that, but not the full uncut interview.
Here we go. Here's the full. There's an uncut video, but here we go. So this is it. So Kenny Dalglish in his after-match. So this goes back to February 12th, 2012. Wow, 2 months before I turned 15. Christ, it says a lot.
Jeez.
No, mad. Kenny Dalglish in his after-match interview with Jeff Shreves from Sky Sports said his team deserved credit after giving United a 2-0 lead. He said, I thought that obviously with the 2 goals coming as close as they did, it made them really difficult for us to get anything from the game. To the boys' credit, they got one back when Lewis knocked one over over the line from a free kick, and then De Gea has a good save. Overall, I think they were the better side, but you'd expect with them at home. Shut up. 5 minutes, 2 goals, it gave us a mountain to climb. See, no wonder Solskjaer was a fucking Liverpool fan. Shreves then asked, did you have a view on the incident just before half-time when Luis Suarez was through and Ferdinand got there? Who got the first touch on the ball? And we still can't decide. The Liverpool boss replied, in humour, well, if you have 24 cameras and 34 repeats and you can't decide, then there's no chance for me to have a valid opinion. He then added, fuck off.
I thought that was like some kind of wig or something. I was like, where did that come from?
No, it's her. The Liverpool. So he then added, I thought maybe he nudged the first one, but I don't know if Ferdinand played the first ball. Blah de blah de blah. Here we go. Here's the fun. Here we go. I never knew he shook his hand. Dalglish answered. He refused to take his hand. Shreves probed. Dalglish began to get unhappy with the line of question, replied, I'll take your word for it, but I don't know. I wasn't there. I never saw it. That is contrary to what I was told. Stop lying. But now that I've told you he did to Kenny, your reaction to that, well, we'll ask him. We'll take it from there. Do you think you have to take a serious look at his refusal to shake his hand in the way subsequently set the tone for elements of what happened here today? I think you're very severe. I think you're bang out of order for blaming Luis Suarez that anything happened here today. I think predominantly both sets of fans behaved really well. They had a bit of banter between each other, no problem, right? How many bookings was there? Shreves then coolly answered, Kenny, I'm not talking about the fans. I wasn't asked about that. I was. And then Kenny goes, how many bookings? I'm not talking about the fans. How many was there? A couple of bookings. Right, okay, you know how many Man United Liverpool games? That's not bad. Yes, but Kenny, you also know about the controversy in the tunnel. The police were called. And then he goes, you know something else? You see, we had the game, the FA Cup tie, right? Because there was no 24-hour news channel up to the game, like nothing happened. So now you're blaming the news.
There was a scuffle in the tunnel at half time, though. I do remember hearing about it that game because Suarez kicked it into the crowd and then
it kicked off.
Obviously,
it just got so out of control. Like Suarez, for all he is, like striker-wise, now he's playing with Messi again. Fucking insane. David Beckham was
brilliant player, shit bloke.
Yeah,
great, exactly, great player, horrible human. But I'm like, fuck me, like Kenny Dalglish, for all he's done and achieved, he fucking knew his player was in the wrong. I don't care if I was
to an extent, Suarez acted the same way Tony did recently, coming back from a lengthy ban of something you actually did and acting like some hero of injustice.
I want to leave. After he tried to fucking chomp off Chiellini's arm. Well, shoulder, but he was going for it in all
No, he did it to Ivanovic first, wanted to leave, got convinced to stay because of the whole Arsenal release clause thing, which is actually a lot more complicated than people realize as a story and is actually misleading what happened. Then a year later, did the exact same thing after almost single-handedly making Brendan Rodgers look like a good manager. And then...
Well, to be fair at the time, I think realistically, you could say Brendan Rodgers at the time was a good manager.
He's alright, but not title challenging worthy. Like Ryan Clough's words are, good managers make good sides, not the other way around. But Suarez did that. You can't tell me that Simon Mignolet, Mamadou Sakho, and some other absolute banter era players were worthy of winning that title, yet they were in that position. So I just think that, say what you want about Suarez, quality player, quality number 9, you might hear about him again later.
Horrendous.
But yeah, just an all-round hit bloke.
100%. I think it's time, Julio.
You reckon it's time?
Let's go for it.
Yeah, let's carry on.
As it's the January window, and we haven't done a January transfer tier list, I thought I'd spend half my evening after coming back from what has been a busy day, full of illness, getting
What a
this
legend,
sorted.
may I add.
Right. How do we go about this?
Share
How do
screen, share tab.
Yeah, so go present, and then it should give you all of
Yeah,
the.
present, share screen. And you four-legged fuck, get out of my room.
Here we go.
Destroying everything. Don't think so. Don't play.
There we are. So here we have a tier list for the January transfer window. Down here we've got about 59, 60 January transfers of the last 15 years, give or take, one or two. Went for some iconic ones for the right reasons, the wrong reasons, and some absolute banter-esque ones.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can see the tiers. What a signing, decent, mid as hell. Like, what was even the point? Bad, and disaster. Disaster could mean one of two things. Could just mean bad signing in general, or it could mean like, what were they thinking with behind this transfer alone? Nathan, I see you were quite zoomed in there.
Yeah, I'm trying to get.
I've got my eyes on a few.
Yeah, and me as well. There we are.
Does
That's
that help?
better. Oh, wicked. Oh, you put him on. You put him on there.
Which one? There's a few.
Oh my god! I just seen the
When you
second
look at
one.
Nathan, for you specifically, the more you look, the worse it gets.
Oh no! So far, I've got Kenwyn Jones, Fabio. I feel like there's one missing.
There is literally the same guy on there that I can say twice in proudness, but some of my favourite transfers are literally on this. Like, I've got so many in reserve that are mine.
Oh my god! I've just seen the last one.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna say this as well. Third from the right on the bottom is 6 years today.
Yeah, we'll come to that soon, but I will say that is one of the saddest transfers I've ever seen. When you look at especially that picture in itself,
I'm gonna
how
praise
right it looks. Everything
is,
about that looks right, and then how it just went so horribly wrong.
But the thing is, though, is I said to you before we went live that I've got a January transfer that I'm going to praise. That is the one. I'm actually going to praise it.
I think no matter how much of a disaster of a transfer it was, we'll come to actually. You know what? I'll save my point of view for that when we come to it. So roughly, there's about 10 each.
That's what we're going to do. Pick your 10, and then that's what we're going with. So I've already got mine, so I'm telling you now. So my 10 right now are Yelovich twice.
So both Yeloviches.
Oh, I love Yelovich.
I know you love Yelovich. If I just...
Yeah, I love Yelovich. I'll
put him up just up here. Let's organise it in...
Alright, give me the top side. And then that runs. Bruno Fernandes.
Where is he? There you are.
I am going to touch on it, so give me Luis Suarez.
Where are you, Lewis?
On the bottom on the left.
There you are. Sorry, I remember the full picture.
Then I want João Felix. Give me Wilfred Bonny. Stealing that from Nathan.
Don't worry, Nathan has his chance for another Swansea player on here.
Yeah, this is one that I think is going to shock you.
That's if I let him. Give me. I want Jekyll, Giroud, and I want Alexis Sanchez. Which then gives me 3 left.
I believe so.
Yep, so give me the biggest fraud on this fucking list. Where is he? Fernando Torres.
I was going to have Torres.
Hang on a minute. I think that's 9 players there, Reece.
I've got 3 slots left to fix. I'm taking that whole fucking top row. Like, I'm taking that top row. Top row's mine, then it's yours, then Nathan's, and then the two underneath, we're just going to fucking plant them.
We're
Okay,
just gonna send
fair
it.
enough.
So, like I said, give me Fernando Torres.
Where is
He is the middle of the second
There
row.
he is.
There
Next
it
to
is.
Then-
Carlo.
Then I do want Kulusevski. Everybody knows how much I love Kulusevski. I think he's fantastic.
Can I just make a
Maya-
point? Can I just make a point quickly about the Kulusevski one? When I was looking at Bentancur, because Bentancur is on this list somewhere, when I was looking at pictures of him, 90% of them were Kulusevski pictures.
Yeah. Now I'm actually deliberating between 3 players as my last choice, and I'm stuck to the side here. So my 3 in question, funnily enough, you just mentioned it, is Bentancur. No, I haven't chosen yet. I'm still deliberating. My choice between 4 is between Bentancur, Arshavin, Bruno Guimaraes, and ironically, my last one is Juan Mata.
Ooh.
And I can't decide because I like all 4. I think if I keep picking the ones I like, it's not going to work. I'm just going to be too biased. So, I am going to take the one I think is an absolute fucking disgrace. Give me Odion Ighalo. It's the worst one on this list. From a United perspective, he's the fucking worst.
Yeah.
There are some good players still on here, though,
I think
Yeah,
the rows
so-
are in
that
12.
we can lay into.
So I will let you go, Julio. Pick your 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Pick your 12.
Pick my 12.
So we'll do like one each from our row. We'll do one at a time. But the bottom 2
No,
rows
let Nathan go
we
next.
can't touch. All right.
Let
the
Nathan
bottom
go
two-
next.
The bottom 2 rows,
Ooh.
we do them as a group.
Yeah.
So pick your 12, Nathan.
Where do I start? I would
Nathan,
like...
should I just put all of the ones I think you want in there?
You was funny.
I've got some bold opinions, to be fair. So could I have
just-
Christian Eriksen, please?
Yep, he's already in your row anyway. He's already in.
Brilliant.
You know what's funny? I just noticed something. Philip Coutinho is apart from Yelovich, is the only other person on this to be on twice. Philip Coutinho, I forgot he was signed from Inter Milan in January.
Yeah.
So we've got Christian Eriksen.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to take him. Wilfred Zaha, Palace.
Yep, straight underneath Batshuayi. Yep. Actually, no, it's Cuadrado. Sorry, that's Cuadrado. He was so
Batshuayi is
good.
on the list.
How the fuck did Chelsea fuck him up? Higuain as well, to be fair. Omar Niasse, Mudryk, Van Drunk, Luis Diaz. There's some really good ones on here. Raphael as well, Cardiff.
Fabio, you mean?
Fabio. What a
They're
baller
both-
he was.
They both look the same, to be fair. But aye, Fabio, because they couldn't get the better one. Who's next? Who's your
Do you know what's
first one?
funny though? United originally wanted Fabio. He was the one they were after, but because they came in a package deal, they took Raphael as well. So funny
Sure.
enough, Raphael was second choice and ended up being the main guy, even though Fabio's technically started more Champions League finals.
Yeah. Can I swap mine? Because I'm actually I can't go with pain on my additional pain. Can I swap a Gallo for Andre Arshavin?
Sure, why not?
Arshavin's in Nathan's row. I really do like Andre Arshavin. I actually wanted Man United to sign him, despite the embarrassment of the UEFA Cup final in 2008. That was that.
Oh, I remember that game. Jesus Christ.
Oh wow.
SFA bastards. Anyway, carry on, Nathan.
Ooh.
Who's your third pick?
Third, I'm going to go Chris Wood.
Ooh, okay. That I don't argue with that. The good thing is you already have the one Swansea already. There's one Swansea already in there.
I'm going to keep him. I'll have Andre Ayew.
Yep.
Bear in mind, this is Andre Ayew's second time.
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
But
Both
I have a
times-
strong opinion.
Both times were shit anyway.
No, the first time was good.
disagree.
The second time wasn't. The second time was terrible.
Second
Didn't
time,
score.
I disagree.
I just realised you've
But
got
we'll
like
get to that in a minute.
I just realised you've got like Remy in there as well before he went to like when Newcastle wanted him after that brilliant goal scoring season. He went to QPR.
I'll have
Still
more
ended up at
Remy at
Newcastle.
QPR.
It was still mad that he ended up at QPR. Like he should have went to Newcastle or Chelsea. He should have done. Oh, Jermaine Defoe's in there as well. Nice.
I've got a few Sunderland players in there actually.
I'll take Jarrod Bowen as well.
No surprise. Good shout.
Then I'll have Higuain.
Yep. Yeah, I had to leave Higuain.
I'm going to go Fabio, because it'd only be right.
Where is he? There he is.
But I don't think I'm going to take any more Cardiff players for the time being, because I want to see, because I know there's 2 left, I want to see the opinions of you guys on them. Because I think it's going to be contrasting.
I wonder if you'll take any of the Liverpool ones, or if you'll take either of the
Sorry,
three
guys.
Newcastle.
It just occurred to me that I've somehow accidentally put Afonso Alves into this list.
That's all right. I was going to say, I wonder if Nathan, out of the 4 Newcastle and the 4 Liverpool, which one Nathan will choose. Sorry, 5 Liverpool, sorry. Actually,
I am thinking of a Liverpool player.
1, 2.
The player
3,
Cardiff
4,
missed out
5,
on, I am
6.
not going to go for.
There's 6 Liverpool ones, actually.
Didn't you
4
have
Newcastle.
one of those guys?
So we've got Andy Carroll, Luis Diaz, Van Dijk, Sturridge. Wait, is that Stephen Colker? No.
Yeah,
It is, yeah.
it is.
Uh-huh.
Let's have Van Dijk.
Van Dijk.
Yep. I saw that one coming.
3 more left.
Surely Jermaine Defoe. Like, he has to get praised. Someone's got to pick Defoe. Or are we all just going to do Defoe together?
Would
I
make
reckon let's
sense to
do
Defoe
Defoe together.
Is he one of them? I take so Jermaine Defoe we're all going to do together.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
put
think it's
Defoe in the
that's a safe one.
put Defoe in the 4th row then.
Where is he? There he is.
Beside that fucking fraud, Cenk Tosun.
I'll have Czech Tosin.
Good boy. Your
I'll
final
also
2.
have Makayo Mudryk.
I knew that was coming. I knew he was coming. Your last one's going to be wild because there's so many crazy transfers here, like Andy Carroll, David Luiz, Mkhitaryan.
There's so many wild ones for different reasons as well. This is a very juicy tier list if you think about it.
Oh, where do I go? I
I
want to select another one of the Cardiff boys, but
No, it's mad. I think I know what you're going to do.
I can't see it. Is that Ollie Watkins or is that Felipe Coutinho?
It's Coutinho.
It's Coutinho twice. Coutinho had 2 January transfers.
He did.
I have a
There's
feeling,
about 3 names I want here.
I have a feeling you might go Fulham.
Surprisingly,
Either he's Julio's first pick or he's your last pick. I think you're definitely going for senior Fulham
I will go.
because that is one of the biggest.
I want to go
frauds of all
Pape
time.
Cisse as well.
Take him.
Cisse's an interesting one if you think about it.
I'm going to go.
Curling
I'm going to go
goal is Chelsea.
Coutinho.
Which one?
The Villa Coutinho.
Wise choice. Right,
There we are.
Julio, you're 12. Go.
So Chris Samba is on this list. Just here.
We want him to pick a world-class choice and he picks Chris Samba. All hope is
Kenwyne Jones is obviously going to be my pick.
as long as you leave Bruno Guimaraes where he is, I'm alright.
Batshuayi.
Quadrado's a hard one. Yeah, but it's the only
Yeah.
one of the few that worked out.
Despite it being 6 games.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Who's next?
Yeah.
Diaz.
Well, half my list is already done, so that's fair enough.
Enzo Fernandez, Douglas, David Luiz. Who's that Southampton one now? Is that Pella?
Carrillo.
Oh, fuck it. I'm not even going to talk about him.
record signing. I'll put him in my list actually because I knew people would forget about him.
I'm refusing to talk about him.
Don't worry, this will be undisputed. Let's have a look. I'm going to put Nias in because vibes. If it was Nias Hull, it might be a different story, but
negative vibes everywhere he's been.
But he looked like a semi-decent striker when he went to Hull.
I want to say Gary Cahill, but that's not what I used to call him growing up. I used to call him something else, and I'm not saying it on this stream because I'll definitely get in trouble.
No worries.
I'll put the private chat for Nathan's.
Please.
I used to call him this every single match day when it was Man United versus Bolton or Man United versus Chelsea.
Robert Huth is going in there.
Amazing.
I used to call him that every match day when it was either Chelsea or Bolton whenever it was versus Man United.
It was every that era, to be honest. It was that kind of era.
Yep. With John Terry, it was very appropriate.
Is there an argument to be had that John Terry gave Gary Cahill a career?
No, I think we all know who really gave him a career was Carlo Ancelotti. Because it was Carlo Ancelotti that recommended him at Chelsea before they signed him. Shocking.
Okay.
It's crazy that... Who else are you going to pick? Because you've got 3 left, and there's a good range of positive options here.
I'm going to go Nathan's favourite, Luis Diaz.
He's one of the best ones on here, annoyingly. Should listen to Ralph Frank.
Well, a lot of mine are banter ones, if you think about it. So
yeah,
Daniel Sturridge, I'll go with.
Another one that worked despite injuries. Thank God.
Daniel Sturridge was unlocked when he went into that Liverpool side.
Thank God he didn't come to Rangers though during his betting issues.
Jesus
I don't think
Christ.
He was at Ibrox at a game I was at.
And Joe Willock.
So let me get this straight. You've got Bruno Guimaraes, Kieran Trippier, Juan Mata, Juan Cuadrado, Philip Coutinho, Victor Valdez, Nemanja Matic, Rodrigo Bentancur, Jermaine Defoe, Papa Cisse, David Luiz, Moises Caicedo, and you choose Joe Willock.
Because it's an interesting conversation I want to have. Because this isn't Joe Willock on a permanent. This is Joe Willock's loan spell.
True. Right. So, what I want you to do now before we jump into the tier list is pick your order. Who's going, in which order you're doing yours. And then we'll do it. So, for me, Jelavic starts and Jelavic finishes. So, Jelavic, Everton at the start, Jelavic, Hull finishes. Fernandez second, Bonney third, Sanchez fourth, Olivier Giroud in fifth, then Bentancur.
Wait, did I forget one?
Nope, I'm only kidding. Give me it's Kulusevski. I'm winding you up. It's Kulusevski.
No. I just realised I put Giroud and Batshuayi in, but I forgot the third point of that triangle in that January window. Aubameyang.
Yeah, but it's okay. No one cares. Jekyll up next. Then Arshavin. Suarez after Torres. And that's my order.
How do you want to do your order, Nathan?
For me, I'm happy with it. The only one I want to swap around is Ericsson and Zaha.
Okay, no worries. I'm just going to go vibes in my order. I'm just going to leave it as it is.
And then the last order, we just leave it as it is. There's no point because we're going to discuss it equally. Okay, so one each. And we're just going to run with it. Okay, so for me, Nikita Jelavic, Everton specifically, I'm going to put in decent. The reason I put him in decent is obviously he's coming off a season at Rangers where he just won. He was the championship. He just swapped the number 18 for the number 9 shirt as well, taking over from Kenny Miller. Obviously, this is now under Alan McCoy, where they were still knocked out of the Champions League, but they were still, up until issues presided the club, Jelavic was still scoring goals. Still the main man. Goes to Everton. Stephen Naismith follows him as well, but he's still getting banging in goals for Everton when they really need it. He was clutch. Especially for a level of striker Everton were at the time, it made perfect sense. And 9 million is a good fee. I've got nothing against Jelic in that sense. And he's one of the players I've always liked at Rangers anyway, so yeah, decent for me.
Fair enough. With the Jelic transfer, I know it probably sounds obvious now, but was it actually a case of you had to sell him? You had to sell him.
We had to sell him, yeah, unfortunately, because of the situation in the club, and we all know that's Craig White's fault.
Very good first half season he had.
He did. He had a very good first half, especially in big games. Like, he was turning up in the big match where you really need him. It was a constant nightmare for Celtic as well. Like, I remember the League Cup final, where he linked up really well with Vladimir Weiss in extra time. Very clever indirect free kick that led to the pass through, and he scored the winning goal. At that point, he just became the key to Walter Smith and Ali McCoist. And then when McCoist took over, he put Naismith in behind them instead of out wide. It allowed the likes of John Flick to become a more prominent wide player as well. It gave options there. And it just allowed Jelic to just expand himself as a striker before he eventually went to the Premier League. And it worked in the best way. It worked.
Fair enough. Nathan?
Wilfried Zaha. I was thinking about putting him in top tier, but for me, he just goes in decent because of the way it ended and the fact he tried to make Crystal Palace sort of Wilfried Zaha Palace.
Yeah.
And I think his ego did end up taking over, and he did hold back Palace with some of the young players that they had coming through.
Well, let's look at it like this. A big move was obviously on the cards since summer 2019 when Arsenal failed with that transfer, and he only left summer 2023. So that's 4 years where it probably seemed like he was linked with the move away. But when you look at the transfer itself, they sold him for 50 million quid, and within 2 years, he was back at the club permanently, having been on loan for 6 months, for 6 million, I think in total, including the bonuses and add-ons. And then they were looking to sell him for 70, 80 million. So from a business point of view, it looks like a really good transfer. But I do agree with you in the sense of how it basically became Wilfried Zaha FC for a point. And obviously during this
goal scorer though, he was like there when it really was clutch. Like, he really did show up for them. Like, when they really
he did.
Yeah.
That helps when you've got Jordan Ayew at your club.
Oh my God. And the other array of strikers that, Crystal Palace have had who haven't really scored goals.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So my first pick was Samba.
Correct.
I'm going to put him in disaster.
Yeah, that's a unanimous agreement.
Big money signing. Played, I think, 12 times or something like that. Had one bad game at the start and never fully recovered, and was on huge wages, obviously, went down, and 6 months later, obviously, he's gone back to Russia.
Absolutely.
Just wasn't the same as he was at Blackburn.
And when he went back to Anchi, that was it. He was just making the cash. He was happy. Okay, me again. So it is Fernandes, and despite his bitching, and it is frequent, when you look at statistically, he is top tier. Like, he is like the first to go at the top tier. Like, he has been numbers wise, goals and assists. Like, his record.
The impact he had when he came in, my God, sensational.
Annoyingly, he saved a manager who should never have been given the job in the first place. He saved his job numerous times. But clutch-wise, it was left, right and centre. Goals, assists, doubles, hat-tricks. He was really becoming that focal point that United lacked.
Almost like a Cantona-esque kind of... Not saying he's on par with Cantona, but it was almost like the closest thing we've had to that kind of impact.
There's no way in saying that.
Yeah, it has tailed off a lot in recent times, though. Like, he has tailed off, but barring that, you cannot exclude the fact that, like, what he has done for United, especially where he has at times had to become the main fulcrum. He certainly lived up to that, especially for the value where you would have thought this should have been done in the summer, not January.
100%. Because if you think about it as well, when you look at what it was like before Bruno Fernandes came in, we were 5th or 6th in the league. We'd just been smacked up 2-0 by Liverpool at Anfield, and who were champions elect, and 2-0 at home to Burnley. And we were running with a team which had Marcus Rashford being played through every single game. Martial there, you didn't know how good he was going to be. Greenwood was very young and unproven at the time. And then behind them, you had
Lingard,
Andreas Pereira, a very out of form Jesse Lingard, Juan Mata. There was no wit, there was no spark in there.
Matic was being underused as well.
Matic was barely used. I'm pretty sure for the first 3-4 months of the season, we didn't see Matic anywhere.
And the confusion of Pogba as well about his role. He was just all over the place.
But Pogba was out injured, and he came back for a couple of games in December. Then it just wasn't. Then it was too soon for him, and he got injured again.
Yeah, it was really poorly done. It was poorly managed.
Oh, and Dan James as well.
We don't go there.
Just had to mention that he was there as well. And apart from looking really good in the first 3 games with 3 goals, that was it.
Yeah, but that's a big reflection of what he has done since. The numbers definitely need to improve again, but also his attitude needs to change. It needs to stick to his fucking position.
On the numbers thing, do you put it down to the fact that he is being asked to play a little bit deeper? Because when he was at United, when under Ollie, for example, it seemed he was playing almost as a second striker, whereas now it seems he's playing more of a 10 or even an 8, which just doesn't seem to have that much freedom he used to have before.
Even as a number 10, he should still be delivering at least 20 goals, and he should still be delivering at least 20 assists. There's no excuses. He should be delivering 20-20 every single season. As a chief number 10, if this was Kevin De Bruyne and he wasn't delivering those assists, there'd be a serious conversation. Fernandes needs to deliver at least 20 assists every season, and from his goal scoring perspective, it must be 20-25. Because you can't trust our strikers anyway. He should be delivering every single game. If he wants to be in the conversation for the best number 10s in the world, he has to deliver every single game. Or even just the best box-to-box midfielders that scores goals. Because right now, he's being outperformed by Jude Bellingham. And he's not a number 10. But he's working.
Jude Bellingham is crazy 10. Though.
Yeah, but even so, he's not a number 10. But he's being used in a number 10 position. And he's been absolutely fantastic.
And he can produce the goods.
Exactly. And Fernandes has done that, but now he's tailed off. He needs to get back to that position where he is doing it. If it's not Ten Hag that does that, then maybe it's a different manager. I don't know. But Fernandes himself, if he wants to be a focal threat, he needs to stay upfield. He shouldn't be coming deep like how he does. He should not be playing at fucking right back to kick a ball 50 yards forward. He should be in the attacking position. I don't know why he does it. It's genuinely annoying. And it's got to stop. But in terms of regardless of the original point, it's still what a signing for what he has brought to the club.
That's fair enough. I agree with that. Nathan, you're next, aren't you?
Yep.
I think I know where Eriksen's going.
For his Brentford one, it's got to go in what a signing. I think obviously from the way he came back, obviously being forced out of Serie A straight because he just wasn't allowed to play in that league. The way he comes into Brentford, controls midfield, and then gets a super move to Man United, where he's even filled in well. What a restart to a career.
13 assists as well, I think he got as well. And there was all for Ivan Toney.
That's obscene in the Premier League. Usually, most players get between 11 and 14. Getting 13 in half a season is outrageous.
Just incredible.
Yeah, I think the fact it was a free transfer as well, I think just says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially the quality of player we know he was before. Let's have a look. So I was on Kenwyne Jones. This is an interesting one. He doesn't go in anything except for bad or disaster, but I can't work out which one because
For me, he's not a disaster because he scored goals.
he did score. That's what I mean. I think he was effective, and you needed a striker. I just think the fact that firstly it was a swap deal with Odin Wingy, and I think the other thing is, I think if you're going to label disaster, I think it's going to be based around the rest of the shit show that was around Cardiff, which I don't think was his fault.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe you could argue it was the wrong striker, but you needed a striker nonetheless. He came in, he scored goals, and I just think he was playing in a poor team.
Yeah.
It's a poor team, like no confidence at all. So I think because it wasn't such a big money transfer like we've seen for others, I think it's safe to say that it's a bad transfer.
Yeah. I agree. Right, for me, up next, Wilfred Bonny, and this one might shock you guys, but I'm actually going to put him in decent. Like, I know a lot of people would actually say lower, but I'm not. I think when you look at Wilfred Bonny, he was having a very good scoring season as well at Swansea already, 2 seasons running. His numbers wise, in particular, for such a lower rated club, specifically than City are, like Swansea wise, he was still delivering the goods. Went to City, which many people were shocked by that. Like he went at such a big fee as well. Goes to City, and he saved, of all things he did, and he's the one thing he did is he saved their Champions League fucking season. Like he stopped them from getting eliminated, which is hilarious. Like he did turn up in big games, like goals wise. The only thing that stops him from being what a signing is, well, one striker that was signed in the summer, even though he was absolutely fucking shocking for City, was Stefan Jovetic. Better elsewhere, but he was shocking in the Premier League. But the other names at the club as well that stops him from being what a signing: Aguero, Jekyll.
He was a bit of a panic buy. I remember at the time, Negredo was out on loan. Jovetic, his first full season, he'd been injured, pretty much injured. Yeah. He came back, he wasn't doing the business. Jekyll was still around.
They loaned out the statistically their best striker that season, because Negredo under Pellegrini's first season was statistically their best striker.
But when they signed him, the strikers were injured. I remember there was a game in the games leading up to January, around Boxing Day and that. I think they were playing Milner as almost like a striker or a false nine, because they literally had three strikers out.
Nasri was playing in there.
Was it Nasri?
Nasri was playing the striker role. David Silva just in behind them.
Yeah, I just remember I think Milner scored a couple of goals in that period, but
it's because they were using Jesus Navas as an outstretched attacker as well, instead of playing out as a winger, and it nullified his game.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I disagree with decent, but I'm not of the opinion. I'm not of the opinion of others where it was a flop, because he scored a lot more. When I look back at the numbers, he actually scored a lot more goals than I realised in the Champions League.
He scored a lot of goals, and especially in big games. Like he really did turn up for Pellegrini. He turned it around for Pellegrini to go and win things. Like that's another thing as well. So I think when you look at it from a smart decision, he is a decent signing. Out of all the City ones on here, like they've made, like when you look at impact as well, he's also the most important City signing in recent years as well, because it was after him when all the questions about their sponsorship started.
It's a lot of money for Bonny, though. Do you know what I think? When Bonny went to Swansea as well, didn't he come from Vitesse?
Yes.
Yep.
So he came from Chelsea's loan club, whatever.
Yeah.
From the Eredivisie, and he's actually people seem to forget he's actually one of the few good Eredivisie signings.
He is actually, but I think
came
we know why.
Upstage meet you as well.
But we know why he worked though. He's got that common thing that I like amongst big African players is that sheer expressive, hard-working attitude and positive attitude. Like, it's the one thing I love about like not just European players or Brazilians or anything, but just particularly African players. When they come over to Europe and all that, and they want to play at the highest level, they bring such an amazing attitude. Wilfred Bonny at Swansea, he really hyped up their crowd a lot. Even Nathan will agree. Like, he really got their crowd going. He done the exact same for City. He really got an atmosphere. But not many people can say that they dislike Wilfred Bonny. Even when he played for City, I didn't dislike him.
I mean, at the end of the day, he probably has one of the most memorable chants in, like, Prime Barclays, doesn't he?
Exactly. Like,
Prime Barclays.
He is generally what I think in terms of the humble side as well. He's also a very humble footballer as well, because he knows he's not one of the best as well. But you put him in a team that works, he's a really good asset, and he was really good for Pellegrini's City side. He was really good. So yeah, that's why he's decent for me. That's generally, I would have put him in what a signing, but I can't because of who follows him. Not directly, but I mean, like, actually, colours wise of the shirt.
Yeah, of course.
Is the reason why.
Yeah. Nathan.
I think I've got Chris Wood next, haven't I?
Yes.
This is nice and easy, mid as hell. Like, what was even the point?
Less said, the better.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, look how one of the first signings of the Saudis. Look how quickly he was out the door to Forest.
And him for how much?
Exactly.
They spent quite a lot of money. You know, Burnley probably thought about going trouserless for a week when they saw that kind of money. There was like Chris Wood, and it was an off season for him as well.
It was funny how much Forest spent just to sign Wood as well. It's hilarious.
It was only like not that much less, wasn't it? It was still a lot of money. It was like, what, 15 million they spent on him at Forest?
Yeah, something ridiculous.
Exactly.
For a 31-year-old. But
and fucking Newcastle spent 30.
It's crazy.
It was just literally a short-term panic buy to get a striker in the door at the time, which Newcastle needed, and yeah.
To be, when you think about it, they had Callum Wilson and not much else. Isak came in the summer, obviously after, but
exactly.
Yeah. Right, Batshuayi.
What's mad though is, like, I don't know what you're thinking, but for me, he is. The crazy thing is, though, I think he's top tier. Like, literally just walking into Dortmund and he completely. The man was mental. I actually think he's top tier. That's my opinion, though. It's not yours, but he literally walked in after Chelsea fans mugged him off, and he went and started scoring goals for fun, and Chelsea fans were like, bring him back.
He was crazy there. He was really good. The only thing that's stopping me from playing him in decent is because he got that injury. So it's almost the business, the transfer deal itself looks like a decent signing, because whilst he started like a house on fire, he wasn't there for most of it, and he was Aubameyang's replacement.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only reason I'm putting him in decent. But
that's a good way to put it. No, that's a good way to look at it.
His career since has never been the same. But I could have put him in twice, because a year later he went to Palace on loan in a January signing.
True.
But my God, what a first 6-7 games he had. I felt so bad for him when he got injured.
He is doing really well in Turkey, though. He's doing really well.
Is he actually?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of strikers out there that around this Batshuayi era were in the Prem. Like, if you think Batshuayi, Josh King, Edin Dzeko just a little bit before.
The teams especially the likes of Fenerbahce and Galatasaray are building right now. It's incredible, and it's still funny that Fred is still unbeaten in the Turkish league.
It's mental.
But apparently he was the problem.
Of course, United sold the wrong part of McFred.
Of course, the amount of times I defended Fred on this fucking podcast, I should have been getting paid. I should have been taking payments for that.
The best thing is I can see Reece has got next.
Mm-hmm. again, the irony is, right, is this is what a signing.
I disagree,
And
but I'm going to hear you out, obviously.
it's not what a signing for performance. It's what a signing for exposing ineptitude of the club. It's exposing ramifications where you are signing, even though unfortunately he did go on an immediate decline and he's now resurfaced himself. At this point, literally, Manchester United have done what Manchester United should have done. They have gave the number 7 to a world-class player.
I think, apart from Ronaldo, he's the only person who warranted it the most when we signed him.
Exactly.
Cavani obviously broke the curse, but it was like a free number at that point.
Like Alexis Sanchez, you're literally signing a world-class player.
Everything about this deal made sense if you think about it. We were getting a world-class player
from a direct
rival, from a franchise point of view.
And not to mention, he had 80 goals for Arsenal in 150 games, something like that. Staggering numbers. And remember, he had one season where he scored 30 goals as a striker because Arsenal moved.
I was going to say that, yeah.
But he had back-to-back seasons. He had 18 goals in the league.
Incredible.
And I thought the guy was brilliant. And let's not forget, his starting role when he played against United in that 3-0 win. He was fucking incredible.
Damian's United career finished that soon.
Yeah, I have no negative words to say about Alexis Sanchez. Even though the transfer didn't work out, he is the player we should have signed before Arsenal signed him. We should have signed this guy anyway because he was a right winger for Barcelona at the time. But then Arsene Wenger decided in the smartest way, I'm going to play him left wing. And I'm like, fair enough, I've got no issue with that. But I am not...
Off the back of that World Cup as well.
I am not putting him in disaster or bad because, one, he came into a team that was not designed for him anyway. 2, the numbers were a reflection of that as well, where he was asked to play a defensive role. Absolutely not. He is definitely not a defensive signing. A winger asked to defend. He should never have been done that. He should have been told to do what Hazard did when Mourinho won the league.
Oh my
Stay.
God.
You are my furthest attacker, even though I've got a striker. You're my furthest attacker. We're going to play the ball into you. You're going to fucking wreak havoc. And either you're going to score or you're going to feed Lukaku. That's it. Instead, no, I want you to come back and defend because Luke Shaw's a fucking wank. That's it. I'm putting him in what a signing because he literally exposed the ineptitude of the club. Because he should have went to Man City. He got big money,
Honestly,
come to Man United, and I'm like, fair enough, come to Man United, take the money. We should have got a whole lot more return. We should have done. But, again, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well. I don't understand why he never gave my chance as well, because that's another asset. He could have got something out of him, an attacking system. He refused to use him.
I think he didn't want... I think what Ole was doing, especially towards the end of that caretaker role / first half season, I think he just didn't want to use players who didn't want to be here. Like Herrera had already signed a pre-contract to PSG, didn't play him. Alexis Sanchez, it was clear from the first day he came to United, which he's obviously said since, I just didn't want to be there anymore. Lukaku was the same. So I think Ole just stopped playing players who wanted to be there.
But the annoying thing is, he should have used them because it would have
100%.
Because it would have made the season a whole lot better to end with, which gives him a better outlook for his first full season as a manager. Instead, he made decisions based on pride, where he's thinking, "Oh, I need to act like the man who I played under." You got nothing like the great man.
Do you know what the thing is though?
Like that.
Obviously, if you'd finished top 4, I have a theory that obviously it went wrong after he got the permanent gig. And I think that it was good that it went wrong in that last 10 or so games of the season, because if we'd got on top 4, we would have still been just as bad the season after in that first half season, and it would look a lot worse on him when in reality we all saw how bad the team actually was.
Yeah, he should never. Some of the players he did treat in that caretaker period, I understand, like the likes of Rashford and all that, and Martial, he wanted to get the best out of them. But he should, as much as I don't like Lukaku, He should have kept Lukaku inside in that team because Lukaku is mobile at that time. He was mobile. He should have kept him in that side as a potent striker.
No, he wasn't that mobile. He was massive. He was
still mobile enough for how he played in the Champions League though. And I was like, he should have
really
kept that.
like he was wearing a bed sheet for a shirt.
Still worked against Juventus, not Juventus, PSG still worked. And even so, like Sanchez as well, like he could have used him in a position where he still used him as a direct threat. And I'm like, I don't like how he treated some of those players.
Sanchez looked good that pre-season he had at United in 2018 because he was playing as the striker and he was actually looking quite good. And I wonder if if he was actually played down the middle a lot more, it might have suited him better. Having been on the decline.
That's what I said when he first came in. I said it on this podcast. Like we should have used Sanchez either as a striker or even on the right hand side because it didn't seem to work when him and Pogba were trying to play the same space. You put him through the middle. Pogba's still your chief creator. Sanchez gets fed goals. Sanchez is scoring goals. I'm like, why would you not use this guy? I'm like, Jesus.
Do you think?
And he was only 30, 31. The only difference is though is you just use him differently. I don't think
he was even 30. I think he was like 29, 30. I don't think he was that into his 30s either. I do wonder though, because obviously Conte was free at the time when Mourinho was sacked. And obviously Conte went to Inter and ended up with, some of the players. Sanchez, Lukaku, Young, Darmian. I wonder that if he'd come in straight after Jose, would we have seen an improvement in Lukaku in Sanchez?
Sanchez would
playing
have
that 3-5-2 or 3-4-3.
It would have been a 3-4-3. He would have been similar to Hazard. He would have been used as that player who is free from defensive work because the rest of the team will do the job. He'll just be there to get the attack. Sanchez would have worked. He would have worked. They gave up on him far too quickly because of his contract. I was like, it's unfortunate. They gave up on him far too quickly. That's why I think putting him in disaster or bad is just because of recency. But when you look at it from a fundamental aspect, there are some positives there. There are some in the right way.
I would personally put him. I mean, Nathan, I'm interested to hear your opinion, but I put him in disaster because of obviously the expectation around the transfer.
I mean, expectation because it was going back and forth for ages, wasn't it? It was clear as day he wanted to leave Arsenal, ends up going to United, and just exposes it.
Yeah,
exposes how bad we are. Whenever we get a player that City want, whether it's Fred, Maguire, Sanchez, even Liverpool well, actually maybe not Liverpool because they got Van Dijk and he looked good.
Yeah,
I think
even Ronaldo.
Even then, I think the part of the deal with Mkhitaryan going the other way, it was good. You should have kept him because even then he flopped at Arsenal. So for me, it goes into disaster.
I would have kept Mkhitaryan and still signed Sanchez.
I don't think that was possible.
No, because it would have been a ridiculous transfer fee, which it sounded like.
I think it was going to be £30 million. At least the books say that each transfer going either way was £30 million as valuation.
To be fair, 30 million in January for a winger of that quality.
Who's in the last 6 months of his contract, though.
I still taking a hit. To be fair, Arsenal probably would have done it for a little bit less. You still could have got him for 20.
To be fair, Arsenal were being tempted
Arsenal had
with a
to get
sterling
something.
plus cash offer at the end of the summer.
Yes, 25 million for Sanchez at that time. I'm not saying no to that.
But I think it's the expectation around who we're getting and what we got. Especially when this guy was first few games, he played all right, played well in the FA Cup semi-final as well against Spurs. But apart from that, it just never really kicked on, and it just got worse and worse and worse.
The way we used him was definitely an insult to him.
100%.
Especially when you looked at when he was one of the I would say in terms of the 2010 to 2020 era of the Premier League, he is top.
He's
3.
up there.
He's top 3 in my opinion.
Him and Hazard are up there, in the top 3.
Yeah, from 2010 to 2020, that whole decade, he's either top 3 or top 5. I'm inclined to say top 3 just because of how good he fucking was. Especially when he carried Arsenal, when he deserved a whole lot better than that club. He deserves so much better than them because it's even worse as well. He was the only player to score in the 2 games where they got battered by Bayern.
Hmm.
He's the only player who scored in both games. He had to play that. I would have fucking quit.
Didn't he play the 4-0 defeat at Goodison Park though, for United?
Yes, he did.
Jesus. So where are we putting him then? Because me and Nathan are like completely.
Yeah, I think you gotta go with disaster.
I think disaster's harsh on him, but I get it. I would say bad. I think disaster, he scored fucking nothing, but he did. And he did create everything. He's
I think
also
we're putting him
responsible
bad. I think bad is fair because disaster-wise, in terms of when you look at what we thought we were getting and what we didn't get, but when you look at it overall with how it exposed the club and how we didn't use him properly, and then when the manager goes through a shit show the season after, everyone that's playing badly gets exposed even more. So I think
he is also responsible for one thing as well, Alexis Sanchez. He is the reason that Mourinho did finally get a win at St James's Park over Newcastle.
Mm-hmm.
That was Alexis Sanchez as well.
Mourinho didn't win at St James's Park. That was Ole.
Mourinho did though.
No, he didn't.
Or was that his first win against Newcastle was Old Trafford? I can't remember, but I know we did win. But Sanchez was the reason we won.
Sanchez came in. That was at Old Trafford, yes. We were 2-0 down and we came back 3-2. Sanchez scored the winner.
There you go, yeah. But yeah, so that's it. So, Ayew. Yeah, bastard.
Yeah, so Ayew for me on his second spell has to go into decent.
How? He didn't score any goals.
I know he didn't score any goals, but he was one of the key players that kept him finishing in the playoffs under Steve Cooper. The only thing that ruined it for them is obviously the wages he was on, which did hold them back. But at the end of the day, with what he did in the Championship, even though that first season under Potter, in that first season under Potter he was invisible.
Because all I'm thinking of is Carvajal.
Yeah,
comes in, he comes back, and all I'm thinking is that 6 months where he's in the Prem.
But then again, that reign under Carvajal was just loss after loss after loss. Because there was just it was just complete overpaid sludge there. They needed to completely clear out in the summer.
I misjudged that one. Damn it! I completely forgot about that. He stuck around in the Championship. That's on me. Yeah, you know what?
I mean, you got to take out the bit under Graham Potter, but when Cooper comes in, he turns him into an absolute monster in the Championship.
Very true. So I see the reason there. I don't disagree.
Yeah, actually, you've got me on board with that one. That one's on me. That's my B. That one.
For no goals, it's a fucking disaster. But for reasoning, definitely decent. So I would say that's more like right in the middle for that. But I do.
Did he actually score any goals in the Championship? I just remember he came in the Prem and didn't score any when he came back.
He did. He scored the Championship. He scored.
Yeah, let's get the stats up here.
Who's my next one?
Oh look,
you've got
Kirchhoff.
Yeah, to be fair, it's Sunderland. It's a.
Yeah. So he scored no goals in 17-18. First season under Potter, he scored 18 goals, and then he scored 17 goals under Cooper.
How many goals? Under Potter, how many goals did he score?
18 goals.
18. Oh, yeah. Jesus.
Yeah,
I completely misjudged this.
Honestly, I don't know why. I actually thought his season under Cooper was better than Potter.
No, it's not.
The only reason for that is because they were massively pushing.
Yeah, he had
for promotion.
Back to back seasons, he had close to 20 goals. He had 35 goals combined over 2 seasons. It's just crazy, but still.
Impressive, actually. So he stuck around and actually did the business.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now he's back. Now he's back to being shit.
Right. Jan Kirchhoff, or Kirchhoff, however you pronounce his name.
Barely remember him. That says all about me, like.
I actually do remember him. He was part of that Sunderland January under Big Sam where they backed him.
Oh, so
They stayed up.
So that's an
They
immediate
stayed up.
disaster. That's an immediate
No,
disaster. Then.
no, because they stayed up and he was actually really good. It fell off for him when Moyes came in, because what Big Sam used to do, Big Sam I think was a bit more delicate with his training,
Yeah.
because I think Kirchhoff was susceptible to injuries quite easily, whereas when Moyes came in, Moyes was like, no one gets special treatment. It was the same for Van Persie at United. Moyes doesn't care what you like, you train like the rest of them, which is why Kirchhoff was barely seen in that full season, and obviously released at the end of the contract when they went down. But he was really solid for them in that 4-1-4-1 system under Big Sam.
That's the thing you got to remember with Big Sam, is that in particular at the start of his, well, especially like Bolton, it was less prevalent years on as a lot of other teams adopted it, but he really put the staff upstairs, used the sports scientists, targeted individual training, and used data.
Big Sam with that is a little underrated.
Massively.
I mean? Big Sam did a lot of things with that, but even there's an argument to be had somewhere that maybe he did as much as Wenger with that, which I know sounds crazy, but when you look at what Big Sam did, he actually did quite a lot.
All I will say is his prime Bolton days, JJ Okocha.
Yeah, exactly.
All you need to know.
I don't know. Where would you put
Campbell as well?
I want to put. I don't know where to put Kirchhoff. I kind of want to put him in decent because of what we saw and how effective he was, and managerial change almost screwed him over for the rest of that Sunderland period. So I don't know.
If it was me, I'd go decent. Because the thing you got to remember, at the end of the day, he was a Big Sam signing.
As is the next one on my list, actually. But yeah, he was solid for them. He was really effective for them, whether they played a back three or a back four with a holding midfielder in front. He was really good for them. And that Big Sam side looked pretty good towards the end of the season in staying up.
Reece, you got Giroud.
I don't remember him. I honestly don't remember him, so I don't know. Amongst it, between yourselves, I honestly don't remember him. I'll just go midway point then, just because I don't remember him. If I don't remember him, I'm just going to put you in the middle.
That's fair enough. Never played for Bayern, I don't think. I think he signed 4 years after joining Bayern, but never made an appearance for them, apparently.
I don't remember seeing him there either.
Reece, Giroud.
Top tier, what a signing.
Chelsea unlocked his career, in my opinion.
For me, he was held back so much at Arsenal.
He was never underrated. He was never underrated before Chelsea. It's like he went to Chelsea, used effectively, and unlocked his potential.
Yeah.
And he was also blamed for not winning the league title at Arsenal, remember? Because he didn't convert the chances that Ozil created from, but Ozil also could have scored those or created somebody else. Giroud got blamed for it all.
To be fair, Giroud would score a brace and then just not score for 10 games. And we've seen that with a lot of Arsenal players, like Pepe, for example.
But then again, that's just because they were mismanaged.
Yeah, the 20-goal season. Yeah, the 20-goal season as well, and he still got blamed by Arsenal fans.
People forget that. I think that's a bit flawed, that one, but he still scored 20 goals in that season.
Yeah, but even at what he goes to Chelsea, he wins every trophy he can possibly get, except the league title. He still wins Europa League, he wins the Champions League, he wins multiple FA and Carabao Cups. He wins the World Cup as a Chelsea player. He does so much with them. And then he goes and gets the league title that he hasn't won since Montpellier when he goes to Milan. Big game player for them at still a ripe age of 36. The guy is incredible and he's a model professional, but especially for Chelsea, he was a striker they needed after Costa, where they really need somebody to come in and fit the style for Conte, then eventually for Lampard and also for Tuchel before they moved him on. He just fit. So you cannot put him any lower than what a signing.
100%. Nathan?
Yeah, I've got to go and what a signing as well. I mean, genius
Remy.
move from Chelsea's part.
Like Remy
What about
was a
Luke Remy?
Just chuck a Luke Remy straight in disaster.
made the wrong move.
Wrong move was just in the vortex with that QPR side, which was just overpaid, overworked, just
Newcastle were in the
big name
race.
rubbish.
Here's the thing: Newcastle were in the race,
Yeah,
Newcastle were
lost
leading the
out,
race.
and then got him on loan 6 months later.
Newcastle were leading the race, and then Newcastle went 1 or 2 million more. It's just not feasible. When if they'd signed them, they would have had a front three of Demba Ba, Lloyd Remy, and Papa Cisse before
Bar
Demba
left
Ba
this.
went.
No, I was gonna say
When
Bar
Bar-
left this January, didn't he?
He was
did.
about to leave. Yeah, he was about to leave. Yeah, for
But the
Chelsea.
thing is, if they would have had that front three throughout the whole season, then I genuinely think Pardew may have got them in the Champions League. May
Oh,
have
yeah,
got
right.
them.
They would have done a lot better in the Europa League.
Yeah.
They brought in Moussa Sissoko that January as well, who scored twice against Chelsea on his debut.
Johan Gouffran followed in the summer as well. I remember most of that. This was still a Newcastle team as well that had Cabell and all that. I'm sick of saying their names because they were good players. But like Remy, really stupid move because he was doing brilliant at Lyon. And then he decides, I'm going to the Premier League. And you go to a club that didn't even use French players. Newcastle were already using French players.
They were literally France FC, whether it was French speaking or French international.
Exactly. And he eventually made the right move. Too late.
And he was really good with them.
Yeah, and he went to Chelsea, and
After failing his medical at Liverpool, may I add. Sorry, I just like bringing that in there. That's quite interesting.
I don't think Mourinho wanted it.
Mourinho had
Wait.
Drogba and Costa. He literally
And
signed 3
Samuel.
strikers that summer.
And Samuel Eto'o.
Eto'o left that summer though.
He still had
Went
him.
to Everton.
He still had him.
It's crazy.
I don't. That's the illogical sense of Chelsea. But anyway, carry on with discussing Lloyd Remy.
I don't think there is much to discuss. Is there, Nathan?
I don't think so. Just chuck him in disaster for me.
He's in disaster, right. Who's next on my list?
Some other bloody Sunderland player.
Kazri. He goes in decent for me. During that David Moyes year, it seemed like the only player who could do anything, was very good at set pieces, was a perfect threat in that Big Sam 6 months. There was one other signing that they made that January that I haven't got on this list, but it was Big Sam, which had a plan where he was like, right, set pieces, I'll get a set piece specialist in and we'll be a threat. You know, Kirchhoff brings him into holding midfield, just solidifies that midfield. So for me, Kazri just goes into decent because apart from Jermaine Defoe in that Moyes team, he was the only other decent player that year. And that's a very low bar.
Yeah, Defoe was more than decent, to be fair.
He pretty much saved them from not breaking Derby's record.
He was Defoe was incredible for Sunderland.
Kulusevski.
Decent is incredibly harsh for him. Where he's actually been incredible despite his injuries, he's been brilliant for them. But the thing that's halting him from being what a signing is injuries. Where he's been brilliant for Tottenham. But
100%.
injuries have held him back from being an even better player. But he's still been very effective under numerous managers at Tottenham. Definitely decent.
Next up, I've got, I think I've got Jarrod Bowen, haven't I?
Yeah.
For me, there's only one option here. What a signing.
Yeah, he's matured into a great player.
I mean, the thing that I will take from this is there was a quote, I believe it was from Spencer Owen. This was just after West Ham moved into the Olympic Stadium, West Ham now need to decide what type of club that they want to be under this regime. Do they want to be a lower half Premier League club which want to stay up every season, may have the odd season in the Championship, or do they want to push on and try and get Europe and stay in Europe every season? For me, the Bowen signing, along with Shufal and also Thomas Soucek, was the statement made that West Ham want to be that team constantly in Europe. Now they have this stadium that compete with the top six. As much as it's terrible, these signings added to it, and in particular Jarrod Bowen just coming in from Hull with the amount that he's delivered them for the transfer fee as well that they paid. Okay, it was a fair amount in some standards for like a West Ham or something low half of the Premier League for a winger, but at the end of the day, he is absolutely priceless for them.
It was a bold move from West Ham as well, because you think this was Moyes' second spell, and right at the beginning when he was trying to keep them up, and they would just, they'd come off the back of a summer where they'd spent big money on Haller, and the previous year they'd spent big money on Felipe Anderson and Yarmolenko and other players. These big European players, good players individually on their own right, but just they weren't doing it. So Moyes going a different route, signing a player for £17 million from the Championship.
It was so sensible, and he was proven there as well for such a young age as well.
Yeah, so it was going back to basics, kind of like keeping with the British core and like mainland Britain like signing them within the leagues, because Bowen was being linked with a move away for a while. And a lot of clubs wanted him, so the fact he got to move, and West Ham, and they just about stayed up, and he's done really well for them. So it is a very good value for money as well. Like I think they could end up cashing in on him next summer for 3-4 times what they spent on him.
Yeah, at the end of the day, a profit move's good for West Ham.
And also, he led them to their first major trophy in decades. It's another important factor as well.
Yeah.
Next one is so incredibly easy. Jekyll is what a signing.
Yeah.
From Wolfsburg. Incredible signing.
Hang on, I'm just trying to remember. What's the order? Nathan, you just went, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's me. Yeah. No, it should be I. It goes me, Nathan, then you.
Yeah. Where am I? I am Shane Long.
Oh, sorry, it's still yours. Yeah. Oh, fuck off.
Shane Long was only at Hull for 6 months.
He goes in disaster for fucking nearly ruining Manuel Neuer's career. So he goes in disaster. I'm pretty
that doesn't count.
It does to me. It does to me. Fucking Shane Long.
Cry more. Because I'm looking at it objectively. Bear in mind, I'm the guy who keeps getting called out for what I think about Irish players, which isn't bad, but it keeps getting thrown at me for some reason. Thanks, Keane and Jonathan. Shane Long was at Hull for 6 months, and along with Jelavic, pulled up a really good partnership. Unfortunately for Hull, they were cup ties, so they couldn't have those two players for that FA Cup final. But Shane Long was a decent signing for Hull in that team. Granted, only 6 months, and they sold him obviously to Southampton. But he looked good, scoring goals. Him and Jelavic were banging the goals in. So a decent signing for me.
That's the one thing that Shane Long did guarantee wherever he went was goals. Reading, Southampton, Hull.
You guys should have got him.
We should have.
Forget the Reading links from before.
We should have had it.
Instead of like thinking, who can we get from abroad or whatever? No, you should have got for someone who was like, even Lafondra when he was at even though he was at Reading at the time, just someone who was guaranteed to get goals.
I'll tell you one thing. We did end up getting Lafondra, don't you?
No, I know. That's the hilarious thing. But
it was terrible.
Exactly, but it wouldn't have been so bad if you were in the Premier League.
I know.
Right.
Still good at Reading, but.
Reece, you're next. Jekyll, you said, yeah?
Yeah, what a signing. The guy was fucking incredible for a club I absolutely despise.
Which is funny because it took him ages to score his first Premier League goal.
Yeah, but after that, he just kept scoring and
He kicked on. Had a pre-season and kicked on.
Big game after big game after big game. He just kept turning up, scoring goals, and it took City a long time to replace him as well. Like after they moved him on, it took them a long time to find somebody who can effectively fill in for Jekyll when, yes, Aguero was the main man, but more often or not, Jekyll was doing better for them than Aguero was. Aguero was still getting goals, but Jekyll was leading them to success. Eventually, Aguero developed into that player who can become a trophy winner. But when they really needed a clutch moment,
Jekyll pull-ups to some big goals.
Exactly, especially in Europe and in the league. And also, not to mention, he ran Man United on his own in that 6-1 win. He ruined Man United on his own. Like, he did that himself. Forget the Balotelli, why always me celebration, or Aguero's goal or whatever. Jekyll just decided, fuck this. Like, if Man United want to come at us in this game, they want to prove their worth, I'm going to show them exactly what they're not, and that's a genuine threat to my goal scoring. Like their defense to me is nothing. That's literally what Jekyll thought that day when he scored that hat trick. He completely mugged us off, and he's still doing it now as well. He done it again in Italy. He's now doing it again in Turkey for Fenerbahce. He's their main number 9. Like, this guy is clutch everywhere he goes, and also he was clutch for Wolfsburg.
I know he wanted to play, but I still think City made a mistake letting him go.
Yeah, they shouldn't have done, because he would have won them the Champions League. He would have won it sooner than what they did. They just made a stupid mistake. But yeah, like that's football, but it says a lot. But yeah,
quality striker.
He was incredible under Mancini. He was incredible under Pellegrini as well.
One of the many target man strikers Chelsea were linked with in 2018 when they ended up with Giroud on the list with Ashley Barnes, Andy Carroll, and Peter Crouch.
Yep, absolutely. Just overall, and he's a good guy as well. He's a good guy as well. So yeah, he's easily what signing for me, no debate.
He was one of those players that I was like, you know what, if United ever signed him, I wouldn't be upset.
Me neither. I wanted him purely because of Wolfsburg. I wanted him because of the Wolfsburg.
Yeah, my old man was the same. My old man was like, we need a striker, we need to get Jekyll. And at the time, I hadn't heard of him because I was a little bit younger. And I was like, Dad, who's this Jekyll? He's this Bosnian striker that plays in Germany. Quality player.
Well, he was incredible for Wolfsburg. They really had a decent side. Jekyll, like, he was getting fed by Diego and Ozil. He was getting fed by them both. And this was Diego after he returned from Juventus as well. Good quality for him as well. And it was as a striker partner or leading the line himself. Like, he was tearing the Bundesliga at a time where it was Dortmund's Bundesliga to themselves, but Jekyll was consistently being top goal scorer as well, alongside Lewandowski. He was up there. Gomez as well. Like, he was fighting them both regularly for the top goal scorer in Germany. So it says a lot.
Nathan, who's your next striker?
So I believe I've got Higuain next, and for me, this goes in. It was bad, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure I think he scored like 5 goals, which was like 4 more than I remembered.
I mean, considering how good he was at Juventus, I know he was like towards the end of the reign, just Mr. Fast Food, wasn't he? But
he was.
Pedigree goals, and Chelsea did not use him correctly.
Well, it's funny you say that because obviously they had a manager there who'd used him and almost unlocked him at Napoli.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been of the opinion that Higuain isn't all that, where he'd score loads of goals, but he wasn't the elite striker. But that's just from what I saw of him at Real Madrid. But
he was incredible for Napoli. He was incredible for Juventus.
He was incredible for both those teams, yeah. But this season that he went, he'd just been on loan at Milan for half the season.
Oh, he was dreadful at AC Milan. 'Cause
He was dreadful on both of them. I think both loan moves, where he's at Milan and at
really bad
Chelsea,
season,
were
yeah.
both panic buys, or both panic loans, I should say.
Yeah, because Milan immediately after this went on to Carlos Bacca as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, bad. I would agree with.
Because that was also that summer as well. Milan signed Bonucci for 40 million as well.
Yeah.
Under Vincenzo Montella, but the weird thing is though is they didn't need it. First trophy they won in a long time as well that season. The Supercoppa, that was Milan's first trophy in 5 years when they won the title. Really bizarre period, but there was no need to there was no need for Milan to bring in Higuain. Like, it was fine to bring in for Montella to get Bonucci as a great striker.
Yeah.
But but you let go of El Shaarawy, who was a more vital wing option. You had Fernando Torres as well, which was fucking stupid. To then get fucking Higuain. I'm like, I love Higuain, but I did not want him at AC Milan at all. I did not want him anywhere near the club. It was stupid.
Well, stupid. Actually, who's next? Go on.
It was borderline insulting.
Who's next?
It's me next, isn't
it?
I believe it's me next. Guido Carrillo, Southampton. Disaster. Club record signing, but was for about 19 million quid, but you were buying Monaco's third or fourth choice striker. He wasn't doing the business there. This was when Maurizio Pellegrino was their manager.
Oh, he was awful.
Until like April, and then they brought in Mark Hughes. It was just a disaster, and then like pretty much he was only there for 6 months, and then it was just either loans or just a permanent transfer away, and it's just terrible business. Terrible. I don't think he even scored a goal. I could be wrong on that one, but I don't think he even scored.
No, he didn't.
Poor striker.
So I think it's me, Fabio. I'm going to put him in decent. I just think for when he came in, he really added that depth at left back. It was under the Slade days. As what was the prominent one when he did come in, filled in really well. All right in the Premier League, added squad depth there well, but it was such a sensible signing, and not only that, the fans loved him. I was gutted when he went.
Yeah,
but we did get money. Did we get? I think we did get money for him.
I think you sold him for about 4 or 5 million quid to Borough.
We did.
Borough got promoted, didn't they?
Yeah, and in the long run, that was very, very shrewd investment. One of the only ones where we actually made a profit.
I was going to say, it was one of the very few you made a profit on, albeit only about 1 million quid.
Yeah.
Reece, talk to me about our shaving.
Genuinely, Andre Arshavin was one of the most exciting signings to come into the Premier League in 2009. Like the 2008-09 season. Like, the guy was 15 million when he was bought for, when he could have went for a whole lot more from Zenit.
6 months after Euro 2008 as well.
And the fact is he won the UEFA Cup final with Zenit as well.
Mm.
Big for a Russian club, but especially for Zenit as well, where they were trying to prove themselves. They beat Man United as well in the UEFA Super Cup. Arshavin was exquisite in that. Like, you look at the whole thing, he is literally Mr. Russia, and obviously he comes to the Premier League with such a big ambition. Signed on deadline day.
Scores 4 at Anfield.
Scores 4 at Anfield.
Absolute classic.
Yeah, and his numbers may have dwindled off, but I genuinely thought that Arshavin was, especially when he was using as a winger, he was excellent for Arsenal. But when he was used as a centre forward, they really Wenger let himself down playing him as a centre forward when he didn't need to. He should have just left him as a winger. And I'm still going to say it. Like, Arsenal fans might disagree, But for me, Arshavin at 15 million is still what a signing. Especially for the fact that 50 million is a bargain. Yes, he did go up. He eventually did leave Arsenal quite cheap. They went back to Russia. But just in general circumstance, for value for money, where they hadn't won anything for a long time as well, he still contributed to Arsenal getting back to winning things as well. Like, that was important. And he was a big game player. And did a reputation. I don't think you can say any less than that. I generally think he is what I say then.
Hang on, there we go. Nathan, you got anything to add, or do you just want to move on to your
let's
one?
move on.
Right.
So,
Van
who have I
Dijk.
got? Van Dijk. Everyone knows where that's going.
Disaster.
75 million quid for what? For one of every trophy. Please grow up.
The only thing I will
One
say with Van
Premier League.
Dijk is I remember when, what was it, about the first 3-4 games, I thought, okay, this is going to be one of the biggest waste of money flops ever.
He scored on his debut as well. That's the funny thing.
He scored on his debut, but the amount of mistakes he was making was ridiculous. I know Klopp did iron it out in the end with some further signings, but yeah, he's really come to his own. And look at the trophies they've won.
Yeah, I think it was his second game. They lost 1-0 to Swansea, Carverhouse, Swansea, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, this looks bad." But I think shoring him up with, he looked good towards the end of the season. But I think shoring him up with Fabinho and Alisson signings in the summer, I think really helped.
Yeah,
because it gave him that base to work in front and behind him.
Because aside from that, he had nothing. Was that the time when they still had like Alberto Moreno and stuff?
They barely used Moreno, but yeah, this was that era. They like one of his centre-back partners was Ragnar Klavan.
Awful. Absolutely awful.
Also remember as well, it's another thing I don't like about Van Dijk's peer with Liverpool as well, his record of not losing at home.
That's impressive though.
Yeah.
Like that record went, 8 games or something, I think. Liverpool were unbeaten at Anfield with Van Dijk starting.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think it was Van Dijk plus Fabinho. I think that was the stat. I'm not sure. I think that's what the stat was. Van Dijk and Fabinho in the same team, and this is what they achieved. I'm like, wow, it's annoying. Like they got such a good run.
Right, Umanias now. Nathan, what do you make of Umanias?
He was good until he got in front of goal.
So he's just a bad signing.
He is probably one of the greatest signings that season into one of the worst I've ever seen. Because at the end of the day, he was great at his feet, but then he just missed an open goal. He didn't even score a goal, so for me, just get him in disaster.
It's just like one of the players I've got coming up.
Because I was going to say, like, all it was with Nias was a loan signing. But you desperately needed a striker. And obviously that was the same January where the whole Emiliano Sala business happened, which obviously is horrible. Like, it's so unfortunate. Right, Reece.
João Felix, absolute baller. But for Chelsea, wrong system, wrong choice of club. He should have went to Man United because he would have played a system that suited him. Again, the value for money of a contract as well that he was on, even for a loan fee, still insignificant. He did not look settled in the Premier League. He was expected too much already because of the value of money that Atletico Madrid had spent for him. And it was unfortunately doomed on him from the very start. So, disaster.
Horrible debut as well.
What was it, like 18 million quid for a loan?
Yeah.
For a straight red.
Jesus Christ.
I felt sorry for him for that, though. I did feel sorry for him. But circumstance being, he really was fucked. That red card doomed him for the start as well, because that was it. Chelsea fans turned on him straight away.
Nathan?
Is it? Oh yeah, Cenk Tosun, game in disaster.
It's a lot of money for
Absolute
nothing.
waste of money. Another.
Shite.
I mean, the amount of money that Everton have wasted on strikers. You're talking Niasse, you're talking Moise Keane, who obviously they got rid of, but he should have done so much better, as Reece fully well knows. Cenk Tosun was terrible. Calvert-Lewin, a bit suspect.
Cenk Tosun lasted pretty much a year at Everton, from January to January, because the January after he went on loan to Palace.
The fact is, like, Everton should be fined billions for war crimes towards Moise Keane for choosing Calvert-Lewin, Niasse, and fucking Cenk Tosun over Calvert-Lewin. They should be fined war fees for the treatment of a genuine top talent. He's had to rebuild his career at the club that actually makes sense for him anyway, but still it's insulting the treatment that everyone did towards Moise Keane. Fucking Scousers.
Robert Huth. This was just his loan spell. Obviously, he went to sign permanently in the summer for £3 million, but it's still a solid signing. Kept them up as part of the Great Escape, and obviously, signed for them permanently and went on to bigger and better things.
He was instrumental as well in that title winning season, especially at the back as well, with partnering with Wes Morgan.
That's why I would put him in the top tier. Because one, he marshalled in defence that fixed them from getting relegated, and then two, he led them to the title. I think he's top tier.
And he only cost £3 million.
Because the £3 million is a summer transfer. That's my only thing, because of technicalities here.
He is literally what Liverpool got in equivalent to what Leicester got in terms of a band. Like, he was that type of centre back they needed. They needed that show up. Because Wes Morgan was a good centre back, but he was playing beside a fucking dud.
He's in top tier. You've convinced me. Right, Torres, where's he going?
Disaster. Forget the fact he won the Champions League. That was under Di Matteo, under a loan spell that benefited him. That fucking January to end of season, Torres did great things at missing open goals, proving that he was once an elite striker, went to shit very quickly. Injuries kept creeping up. He also cost Chelsea a chance at the Champions League final at Wembley as well. Like, another thing as well that Ancelotti got wrong was the fact that he chose Torres for that game, which again in the Man United tie as well, that really cost Chelsea, especially that game. That two-legged tie cost Ancelotti his job as well at Chelsea.
100%.
Yeah.
And he didn't, like, again, there was a fact that Chelsea already had Drogba and Salomon Kalou. They did not, and Florent Malouda, they did not need Fernando Torres at all. They should have shored up that defence that was leaking goals. Again, they got it massively wrong. So yeah, Torres under Di Matteo is incredible because he helped them get to the Champions League final and win it. But Torres under Ancelotti, disaster, because I don't even think Ancelotti wanted him.
Can I put a scenario past you then with that?
He doesn't go higher.
Benitez comes in and Torres finishes with a 22-goal season.
Yeah, that's the following season. Ancelotti was already sacked in the summer by that point. It was
Yeah, of course. Ancelotti was sacked. Villas-Boas came in, then he was sacked. Di Matteo came in, he was sacked. Then Benitez came in. So I'm just floating as a scenario. I agree with disaster, but just as a possible, yeah.
I still think he's that circumstance. I still think he's that circumstance. We fly through the rest of these. So
yeah.
I'll just put mine where they go. So unfortunately, Suarez is top tier. Yelovich for Hull, it did not work for me as bad. Like,
Yeah,
that
ignore
one
me.
did not work. It did not work.
Ignore me then. I didn't realise my mic was muted. I was meant to put that in private chat.
It's all right. It works, but yeah. So that's my.
Yelovich was good for the first 6 months, and then it just fell off after.
Yeah.
Because he got injured. And that was it.
Mm.
Yeah,
And that's
my
it with
list,
yours,
anyway.
isn't it, Reece? Yeah.
Yep. So fire through last years and just we'll just curtail it.
Yeah.
So it's Mudryk and Coutinho, I think, left.
Yeah, so Mudryk at the moment, I'm going to have to put in disaster. Absolute waste of
kind of
money
money.
for just
Yeah.
nothing.
Easy.
I mean, he's gonna end up either leaving on a free, just low money, or
Yeah.
just nothingness. And then Coutinho also has got to go in for a disaster. At the time, I thought it was going to go into decent / amazing for the caliber of player and proven in the Premier League, but
He looked good on his loan spell. That first 6 months, he looked good. Then he signed permanently. Then it just fell off.
exactly. But I think he did fill in well there for Villa to
Where do you
really
say
push
you
them
put?
through.
Where did you say you put him?
Bad. Let's go bad. I was thinking
Just
about
bad,
disaster. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Storage is top tier for me.
Yeah.
He did
What
a
about
lot.
We've got Luis Diaz.
Luis Diaz, I'm conflicted between decent and top tier. I think I want to put decent because he's been really good, but I don't think he's been at the level the others have, especially this season.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And then Joe Willock was my last one.
Mm-hmm.
He's
And
awful. Fucking awful.
his loan spell was decent. He came in clutch in that 6 months. He scored goals for fun.
To be fair, I could come in clutch for a shit team. It still makes no difference.
Well, you would
Crap.
say that, wouldn't you?
Of course so, because that's to be the truth.
I'm putting Willock in decent. That loan. I'm not saying he's been good since the loan spell, but that loan spell alone, he was a good January signing for a team that couldn't score for shit.
Fair.
Right, Juan Cuadrado.
Mid.
It's literally what was even the point?
Yeah, there's no point in it.
Yeah, they didn't need him. They wasted a good player. Luckily, he went back to Fiorentina and he excelled.
He was really good at Juventus. Went to Juventus and did really well there, didn't he?
After Fiorentina, yeah. Now he's at Inter Milan.
Kim Karlstrom.
What was the point? He was injured. He was injured the
Not
whole
stupid.
time.
Steven Kolka.
Absolute disaster.
Shite player.
Really?
Shite player.
The thing is, it was good from him leaving QPR, and I know we cashed in on him, but I don't see the point of him moving to Liverpool. I know he was solid in the Premier League.
Arguably, that's a mid because I think he barely played for them anyway. He was literally brought in as cover and never played. So I would have thought mid as hell.
Okay,
was
that's
even the point.
understandable.
Yeah.
On par with the Ozan Kabak and Ben Davies signings
Yeah.
during COVID. Juan Mata's an interesting one.
Decent. Doesn't go any higher.
I agree with decent. He could have gone higher. The disappointment's because what we were getting as well
Yeah.
was someone who Chelsea Player of the Year, multiple goals and assists the previous year, but just played out of position.
He only played number 10 for one manager, and that was Ralph Rangnick. He was the only manager who played in the number 10 role.
Moyes played him as a number 10 for a couple of games when when Van Persie was injured.
He played him for half a game, then he swapped him for Fellaini and put Matt on the right wing. Fucking insult. Should have played him as a number 10 the whole way through. He's a he was the best number 10 in the Premier League at the time, apart from David Silva. Lunacy, sheer lunacy. Mkhitaryan was same as Sanchez, bad. The next two are the next two are easy. They're top tier. Newcastle's best players by a mile.
Yeah. And also as well, they pretty much got him into the Champions League.
Yep.
Yeah.
And exposed Eddie Howe.
Yep.
So an even bigger win. Gary
Cahill.
Decent.
I think it only cost them 7 million quid as well.
Yep.
Coutinho at Liverpool.
What a signing,
Incredible.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Disaster.
Plus, not only that as well, when Coutinho left, even though what he did to build the foundations for Klopp,
The
They
money.
struggled to replace him
Yeah.
initially.
it was
They
it
did
was, it was the
struggle.
perfect time for him to leave.
Yep.
Yeah.
Andy Carroll's disaster for Liverpool.
Shocking.
He really failed.
Matic.
That's an easy one. What a signing.
Yeah, what a signing.
Sorted out Mourinho's midfield that allowed Fabregas to excel.
Yeah.
Valdez was what was the point. Like, generally, we didn't need him.
Who remembers when he went to Middlesbrough as well?
Oh, that
Oh
was
my God.
insane. That was
That's
mad.
hysterical.
Funny.
Enzo
Came
Fernandez,
back-
I think it's too early to say.
Do you want to put?
Put Enzo in mid for now, just because we don't know.
He
And
has
not only
been
that,
mid.
spending 100 million on a CDM is ridiculous.
Yeah, even though you have to spend that for like so Rodri or Kimmich these days, but
Yeah.
for Enzo Fernandez, like, he isn't worth that amount of money. It's unfortunate that's his release clause. If you want to sign him, you have to, because Benfica won't go less. Defoe, what a signing for Sunderland.
What
He
Yeah.
was incredible.
signing? Jermaine Defoe. What a signing.
He
And then he
saved
got-
them.
And then he got rewarded by winning his one and only league title a couple of years later.
Can I just point out as well, Jermaine Defoe, the transfer for him was a swap deal with Altidore, who looked horrendous for a year and a half for Sunderland. It's one of the best pieces of business. You get rid of shit and you bring in someone as clutch as Defoe was.
And the
Incredible.
numerous Premier League clubs. David Luiz, is this for Arsenal or Chelsea?
This is Chelsea the first time round.
Oh, you know what? Even though I can't stand the guy, I'm gonna say this. What a signing! Because he led them to the Champions League, then he led them to the Europa League.
I would have
I
put
can't-
him in decent because he did show signs of mistakes, especially towards the end of that first half season. But
True.
that first half season he looked solid and he was scoring goals, and then afterwards, even though
Set
he
pieces
showed a
as well.
mistake in him, he was really
Set-
good.
The set piece goals as well he was getting were incredible. Free
Scored
kicks and
Scored
penalties.
against United, scored against City.
Yep. Like his running free kick run that he took was incredible. I can't deny
Mm.
it was really good. Next
So I
one.
put him in decent because he showed mistakes.
Decent's fair. Papas Cisse, again, decent.
Decent.
Especially for Newcastle, where they need just a consistent striker.
More could have happened there, though. That's the thing.
Without Weghorst.
Disaster.
Shocking.
I would have
I
put.
don't
what
care
was
that-
even the point.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't care that he got an assist in the Carabao Cup final. We would have won that cup final without Weghorst. A Gallo can fuck off.
Igalo was alright.
No, it was shite. He was an insult to the club.
The thing
Yeah,
is,
well-
how are you mediocre at Watford and then get a transfer to Manchester United?
Oh, my Man United fan.
Short-term panic. We
Yeah.
chased Josh King that day. We chased Rondon that day, and then we ended up with Odin Igalo. Bear in mind, Rondon was in China at the same time as well, so we were looking for just someone short-term.
He literally went on social media, oh, my Man United fan, look at all my pictures of me in Man United shirts. And then you sign me, I'm like, oh, happy. I'm like, fuck off, mate. Just because you're a Man United fan, we shouldn't have signed you.
I think it's honestly, I think it's mid because he scored goals when he played. That
Yeah,
first
fuck.
2 or 3 months before the pandemic, I think he started like 5 games and scored like 6 goals or something ridiculous like that.
The only game he generally played well in was against Lask. And that's when we played fucking Burns. The guy sucked. Like, he absolutely sucked. We should never... I'm saying this now. Solskjaer should have been sacked for the fact he actually approved the Gallo signing. It was him that
I
approved
don't
it.
think he had much say in the matter. I think Solskjaer was just like, I need
He
someone.
wanted him. He took him. He should have said, you know what, I'll forget it. I'll stick with what I've got.
No, all he wanted Josh King. Josh King being Norwegian, Premier League striker, and he had him in the reserves. And Josh King
And he
always played well against us.
I would have sacked
25 million was steep.
Josh King or fucking Gallo. I would sack them anyway. Anyway, fire all these. Bentancur, what a signing. Caicedo, what a signing. The
Yeah.
Fulham one, disaster.
Mitroglou.
Aye,
Awful.
Mitroglou.
Jesus.
Seamus Coleman
record.
for Seamus Coleman for Everton's what a signing.
Seamus Coleman has to go in there.
I can't be asked.
Yeah, the Gallo bottom and then screenshot. Then let's wrap up because we've got 25 seconds left.
Disaster.
Amazing show. Well done, ladies and
Yeah,
gents.
smashed it, lads. Gosh.
You've actually not even put him in a recognition. That's how good he is. There we go. Fantastic.
There we go. Right. That'll be
Smashed
that.
it.
Good night, everyone.